Oh, my knee cracked. Oh my god, I haven't even started yet. Oh, sweaties, don't! That was a bit dramatic.
Alright, babes, you alright? Hi, sweaties!
Woo, woo, woo.
Anyway. Welcome to my kitchen.
Welcome to my kitchen.
Hi, I'm back in action, doing a breakdown video. Who clapped? Who clapped out there? I know that's right. Well, I mean, it's in the thumbnail. It's in the... You clicked on the video. You know what we're doing. I'm here to talk about... Sorry, I need to be better about holding the microphone right here. Because I'll start doing this and you can't even hear me. I'm here to talk about one of my favorite series, The Hunger Games. I am going to break down every single Hunger Games installation. Is that how you would say it? Whatever. Every book in the Hunger Games verse. So far we've got 5. And the reason why I'm doing this now is because this one, which we'll get to it, that one has just come out a couple months ago. The lore is heavy in that one, okay? I can't hold all of these up. I'm not sure if I'm gonna... I say this all the time. I don't know how this video is gonna go. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I'm just doing it. So right now my intentions are to do a video for every book and break down every thing that happens in the book, because watching the movies, they're totally fine to watch. If that's your only source of getting the story, fine, it's totally cool, but they don't talk about everything, and that's where I come in. Debating on whether or not to tell them in order. If we tell them in order, it would look like that, okay? But we're not doing that. I decided to do it how the masses were introduced to this world. I'm gonna start it off with the one that started it all, The Hunger Games. We're gonna go Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay. This is the original trilogy. For about 10 years maybe, this is all we got. The only thing that was given to us by Miss Suzanne Collins until she went ahead and wrote out Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes. I'm conflicted. Whatever, I'll get into it. And then the newest installment is Sunrise on the Reaping, which, by the way, can I just go ahead and tell you, fucking publishers out there, hey, listen up, target audience right here. Go ahead and print the paperback books, please. Yes, I like to have the physical copy. I don't have a Kindle. I don't have it on my phone or anything like that. All of my books are paperback, and I wanted to keep that aesthetic. But you guys want to fuck around and find out, and all they have is hard copies right now. It ruins it all. Can y'all stop moving? I'm not kidding. I thought I'd cosplay as Katniss Everdeen. I do have my extensions in that I did myself, and I cannot see the back of my head very well. So let's not talk about it. Okay, shut up. But I needed to get in character. This is like the 3rd time I'm rereading this entire series. Okay, my first love was the movies. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like the movies. That age-old debate, the movies are not as good as the books. Of course they're not. You can put so much more detail in these little okay? But when you got a 2-hour movie, they try and fit it in as well as they can. I think they did a good job with what they put into the movies. So that was how I was introduced into this whole series, was when the movie was coming out. I saw the trailer somewhere and I was like, I have got to get down on that. I bought the book, I read through the book real quick, which for me at that time, I was not a reader. I did not like to read at all. So for me to read it that quick, I was like, whew, I was hustling through that thing. Read it and then go see the movie. I had been in the Hunger Games verse since 2012, I guess. The book came out in 2008, written by Miss Suzanne Collins. She's the one to blame for this entire thing. So if you have any comments, concerns, questions, take it to her. And I have written out little synopses for every single chapter in this book, and I didn't have my journals to write in. I was doing it quickly, and so I typed it out. New year, new me, I guess. If you like the story, but you're like me, I was not a reader. I am now, but I was not a reader. So if you're not wanting to spend your time reading the entire book series, it's fine. I'm gonna tell you everything. Okay, so this needs a disclaimer, obviously. This is not a very lighthearted, happy-go-lucky. It's okay. Trigger warnings, death. I was gonna say disease, but I guess there is. Sure, there could be disease. Death, killing, blood. It's just a post-apocalyptic YA. You get it. I'm gonna read you the basic gist of what The Hunger Games is, and you can decide if you want to stick around. I started off making my notes by asking myself questions like, if I had never heard of The Hunger Games, how would I describe it to somebody? So, what is The Hunger Games? Every year in the 12 districts of Pan Am, that's the land, Pan Am. I'll write it out here. Pan Am. You do have Pan ass. In the districts of Pan Am, ruins of what once was North America, the capital forces one boy and one girl between the ages of 12 and 18 to enter into a reaping, compete in a fight to the death till one survivor remains. This pageant is televised to all of the districts and the capital as a reminder and penance for an uprising against the capital. Yeah, it's as bad as you think it is. It's not ever said what year it's taking place in. I think some Reddit threads have kind of predicted that it's probably 300 years from now. The nation of Pan Am was founded and was sectioned out into 13 districts. The seat of government, being the capital, is located in what we now know as the Rocky Mountains. Districts located close to the capital are treated far superior than the outlying districts like 11, 12, and 13. At some point, the nation of Pan Am becomes a dictatorship and a police state. The districts begin a revolution against the capital, which bring on a civil war. According to the capital, the war was instigated by rebels in District 13. Their reasoning being this district was headquarters for the military personnel and machinery with access to other districts to communicate with other rebels. They had their finger on the pulse down in 13. The capital begins using their own weapons such as mutations or mutts, fleets of bombing, and other technology to end the uprising. District 13 and other rebelling districts fought back with their military weapons. The nation of Pan Am begins to crumble. But the capital fought back and they fucking annihilated District 13. It's blown off the map. District 13, gone. She's ended. So now we have 1 through 12. I was trying to think about it. If you go and you Google a map of Pan Am, well, I live very much on the coast of the east. The east coast, if you will. Very close to the beach, and I think all of that would have gotten, washed away. We would have to move inward. We're gonna have to move inland. I don't know, I'll put a map up here and hey, where does everybody live at in Pan Am? I would be in District 12. Not trying to be main character or anything. It's just that's where my roots are. District 12 is located in okay, how do we all say it? How do we pronounce it? Appalachian. This time around while I was reading it, I guess I just didn't pay attention too much when I read it the first go around. Being in that location, able to actually paint the picture of what these characters are really supposed to look like, because Katniss and her best friend Gale are actually supposed to be more Native American, olive skin, darker hair, and all that. After the rebellion, that is when Capital created the Hunger Games. And they said, you know what? All y'all want to fuck around and mess with us? Here you go. We're going to have a Hunger Games. And you're going to send 2 of your kids. They're going to be tributes. We'll call them tributes. Yeah, we'll make it all nice and fancy. Send them into an arena and they're going to kill each other. Whoever wins, you get to live. Didn't say it like that. They embellished it quite a bit. You'll find out as we talk. People from the Capitol, most of them see nothing wrong with this and they love it. This is something, I don't know if I made it up in my mind, but I could have sworn I heard Suzanne Collins say something along the lines of one night she was watching the news and then also watching like American Idol or something like that. A cross between the two. Go through the story thinking about it that way. Watching reality TV and voting when American Idol actually, can you still vote for American Idol? I haven't watched that show in like 10 years. At one point, everybody watch that show and everybody voted. Think about the story in terms of that, like you're watching a show at home that you can vote for your favorites. Capital creates the Hunger Games. They write something called the Treaty of Treason. The Treaty of Treason is a document from the capital after the failed uprising from the districts and failed rebellion. This marks the Hunger Games as an annual event and a reminder of the capital's control. What is in each district? What's their deal? What are they doing? I had to actually Google. She talks about it like as the story goes on, but it's not flat out said in one fail swoop. I don't know if you caught what I said, but the districts that are closest to the capital, which are 1, 2, and 4, I don't even know where 3 lies on the map, but 3 is kind of like 3. Honestly, 3 are the nerds. You need them. I'll tell you why. But they're fucking nerds. 1, 2, and 4, they get treated pretty good. 1, luxury goods. So they work with jewelry, perfumes, furs. District 2 is stone quarries, mining for rocks and stones, and peacekeeper training. Peacekeepers. What the is a peacekeeper? It sounds better than what they are. They're basically the police. They're security guards. Capitol Police sent to all districts. I put sent to all districts to keep citizens in check. District 3 is electronics. Yeah, you need them. It's like the Geek Squad. District 4 is fishing. District 5 is power production. 6, transportation. 7 is lumber. 8 is textiles or clothing. Uniforms, and I don't think they really work with like Capitol clothes. I don't know. I feel like Capitol clothes, people in the Capitol work on those. It's like a designer brand. District 8 would be like the Walmart for the common folk down here. District 9 is grain production, 10 livestock, 11 agriculture, and 12 is coal mining. And I said it earlier, but District 13 was the center of Pan Am's military complex with nuclear tech and weapons graphite mining used in nuclear tech as well. I don't really know what the hell they did after District 13 blew up. I guess they just moved military stuff that they needed. God forbid another uprising happens again. Not saying anything. See video 3 when it comes out. They blew up the district that had their military shit. Hey, a pop quiz. This is a trivia question for you. You know when Reaping Day is? Reaping is when the children are selected to go to the Hunger Games. Anybody know when the Reaping Day is? It's Independence Day, July 4th. I don't think it was said in the books, but I Googled it because I was like, wait, what day does this happen on? Oh my god, Reaping Day is coming up. It's June 22nd. Holy shit. Now, this is an interesting question. We're going to talk a little bit about it. I just wanted to get it out of the way so you can know how the games are set up and how the reaping is set up. That way, as I tell the story, you're not like, why the fuck is that happening? How many times is a person's name submitted into a reaping? Okay, get this. When you're 12 years old, your name goes into the reaping, the pit, the pot, the pile, the pot, one time. And then every year, so when you're 12, it goes in once. 13, it goes in twice. 14, 3 times. 15, 4 times. I forgot what number it was at. So every year there's another chance. The least amount for one person by the time they turn 18 will be 7 times. People can add their name more in exchange for a year's supply of grain and oil, known as tesserae, for themselves and their family members. Grain and oil, that's what you get. Grain and oil. Really all the notes that I've got, I'll explain as we go on. Alright, I've been jabbing my jaws almost for 30 minutes and we haven't even started the story. We know the rules, we know the gist of it. Let's go ahead and meet our first characters. We got Bitch. Katniss Everdeen. Don't we look alike? Tell me we look alike, please. Can you focus? Whatever, you all know what she looks like. Ew, there's a hair. How did I get hair on there? Oh, that's from... I have little fur stuck to my board, and that's when I did my Nosferatu video. We also have her younger sister, Primrose Everdeen, commonly referred to as Prim. I don't know why my autofocus isn't working, and... whatever. Our story starts, Chapter 1. Katniss is waking up the day of the 74th annual Hunger Games. Yes, 74 years later. I'm just gonna call her Prim. I ain't got time to say Primrose. This is her first year. She's 12 years old. She's 16 in this one. It's them two and their mother, Mrs. Everdeen. They live in District 12, live in something called the Seam. The wrong side of the tracks, if you will. Dodgier part of 12. If you live in town, you got a little bit more money, you might have a decent house. Definitely not capital standards, but like you're doing all right. If you live in the Seam, dirt baths for you. No, it's a little bit more rough and tough. Their father has died when Katniss was 11, just about to go into her first Hunger Games. I guess Prim would have been, how old would that make her? Someone help me out. 7, 8 years old, I guess. When their father died, the mother, she fucking checked out because, oh, I want to tell you about it. Sunrise on the Reaping. Come back for that one. She was so in love with this man, and he died. Their father worked in the coal mines, and he exploded in the coal mine. There was a big explosion there. Okay, they're waking up. Primrose, she's shit in the bed. Not really, but she is shitting herself. Katniss has woken up early in the morning and she sees that she's crawled into bed with her mother. Prim and her mother are more alike, and Katniss and her father are cut from the same cloth. I'll tell you, Katniss doesn't really like her mom too much. She loves her. She says it several times. She knows she loves her, but once her dad died and she checked out and basically left them to fend for themselves, she was like, you really have put me through it, and I love you, but goddamn, you have ruined our lives. For that point in time, you ruined it. So you can get an understanding of where they stand with one another. She doesn't feel that way towards Katniss, but she's definitely still trying to wake up every day. God knows she's probably still and will always be depressed as hell and lost, but she tries. Now Katniss still was like, I'm just waiting for the day it all goes back. But she gets dressed and talks about Prim's cat Buttercup and how she hates him. Katniss threatened to drown the cat because she hated the cat so much. Prim is such a softie, cried about getting the cat, and I don't know, I felt like I should point it out that she does not like this fucking cat. It comes back around in the third one. I should bring it up now, because if I brought it up at any other point, it'd be like, wait, when did she have a cat? Prim also, she's got a goat. Did you know that? She's got a goat named Lady, and she's made some cheese for Reaping Day. They treat it almost like, I wouldn't go as far to say Christmas Day, but they do treat it like, okay, it's Reaping Day, bring out your best suits, your best dresses. We're gonna actually splurge a little bit and have a good meal today. Prim, who usually sells her cheese to make some money, has left some cheese out for Katniss. And Katniss goes out because it's early in the morning, and on Reaping Days, nobody works, which isn't often. I think there's one day out of the week that they don't work in 12, like the coal miners don't go to work. Reaping Day, it's a holiday. Yay. But Katniss is like, I gotta go out to the woods. I gotta go shoot something. Now, District 12 is enclosed in a electric fence, sometimes electric. They get like one surge of power a day, and it's usually dinner time so that people can watch the news from the Capitol. Then that's it. I guess if you live more towards in town, you might. I guess more of the seam does not have a lot of electricity at all. She's found a little hole in the perimeter of this fence, and she goes out into the woods outside of the district, which a lot of people will not do out of fear, and also because you could get arrested. What she does is very illegal. Nobody really says anything because she sells to people in the town. She gets rabbits, squirrels, she trades it for things in town, and also gives it to the peacekeepers. And the peacekeepers are like, I'm hungry as hell. I don't care where it's coming from. I ain't gonna say nothing. I don't think they sound like that. In my head, they sound like stormtroopers. Then Katniss meets up with her BFF, Gale Hawthorne. She describes him as looking very much like her. This is all first person, by the way, told by Katniss's point of view. I don't know if that makes a difference to you, but she talks about people always think that her and Gale are related. He always calls her Catnip because when they first met, there's a whole chapter about when they first met, and I'll get into it later, but she was so shy and quiet and didn't want to talk. Said like, what's your name? And she said, Catnip. And he said, did you say catnip? Sorry, did you say catnip? I just always think whenever he calls her Katniss, you know he's being serious. He says Katniss. That's like, you got my government name? Gale traded a squirrel. He had already gone out hunting. He traded it in for a fresh loaf of bread for them to share on reaping day. And then Katniss has her cheese, and they pick some berries, and they have a nice little breakfast for them. And then that's where Gale, he begins to talk about, you've seen the movie, it's like the first conversation that they have. He's like, you know, we could run away. You and me, we could make it. We know how to hunt. We know how to take care of ourselves. But Katniss shoots that down. She's like, where are we gonna go? What about my sister? And then I probably gotta bring my mom, because my sister would need my mom, even though I could live without her. And then you've got your brothers. Gale has got like, I think 3 brothers, and then his mom. His dad also died in the same explosion as Katniss's dad. It was a whole deal. It was a whole big mess. She begins to talk about how she never has thought about Gale romantically. That becomes a big storyline. She said when he brings up running away and wanting to have kids one day, it kind of takes her back a little bit, like, who do you want to have kids with? She says that she never wants to have any kids. She would not want to bring any children into this world where this Hunger Games, if this is still going on, nah. They hunt, they go back to the Hob, and the Hob is kind of like the black market. It is a very shady place. If you don't have your wits about you, if you ain't tough, good luck. How they describe it in the book. Honestly, in the movie, it kind of looked like a makeshift market. I wish they would have owned in on how rough and tough and scary she describes it in the book. They trade some strawberries that they'd picked to the mayor. This is not included in the movies, and the mayor has a daughter named Madge that is never talked about in the movies at all. Katniss says that when they're in school, Madge is very quiet, like Katniss. Doesn't really have a lot of friends, or if she just doesn't want to have a lot of friends, she doesn't talk to a lot of people. And Katniss is like, me neither. So they tend to stick to one another, even though they still don't even really talk to each other. They're friends, they're friendly enough, but they just keep to themselves. Katniss is like, I wonder if it's because she is the mayor's daughter. Maybe look down on that, maybe think she's snobby before they even get to know her. But Madge comes out, and she is wearing a pin with a Mockingjay on it. And Gale makes a comment saying how pretty her dress is. And he says that the pin looks beautiful, but he says it kind of sarcastically, like in the sense of like, wow, it must be nice being the mayor's daughter. Let's see how many thumbtacks I can drop on the floor. Ow, God! The reason why he said it sarcastically is because she's never really had to want for anything. You know what I mean? Being the mayor's daughter. I mean, you get strawberries delivered to your door. So he's like, oh, it must be nice having to only enter your name, what would they be at? Five times? The statistics of you getting chosen are very, very slim. So he's kind of pressed about that. Madge, honestly, I feel bad for her. This might be tea, and maybe I'm just thinking too much about it. I think Madge is maybe gay. She might be lesbian or bi. She's only in like 2 scenes. Rereading it, I was like, maybe she loves Katniss. I don't know. There's no evidence to suggest that at all, but I'm just saying, if she actually loves Katniss, whatever. Poor Madge, she's just like, well, I didn't choose to be the mayor's daughter. Thanks. Anyway, that scene ends. Gale and Katniss go back home. While they do, they explain about the whole putting your names into the reaping however many times. And Katniss goes on to talk about her first year, her name was entered into the reaping 4 times because each tesserae is worth 1 year's worth of grain and oil. This year, her name is entered in 20 times, while Gale's is in 42. I don't know if that's really ever said how many kids. I don't know how many are actually there in District 12. I'm picturing like 150. That might be overshooting it. But if you think about it like that, and if everybody else did the same thing, that's a lot of names in one pot. Back home, Katniss sees Prim dressed in her first reaping dress. Katniss's first reaping dress. Katniss sees that her mother has laid out one of her finer dresses. Her mother comes from the town. She comes from the nicer part of District 12. Her family ran the apothecary there, but then she fell in love with a coal miner, and then she moved into the seam to be with him, and that's where they have their lives. So I say all that to say she has finer dresses from when she lived back in town. She keeps them in the back of the closet, like, no, don't touch those. So now that she's letting Katniss wear one, it's like, oh, fuck, thanks. Because Katniss does not want to wear the fucking dress. She says, I'm not going to argue. I'm sure my mother would love to see me in this. She loves these dresses that she has. It reminds her of her family. She says that she doesn't argue with her, but tells the reader, she tells us, oh my god, gossip. She has resented her mother for a long time. When she checked out after her father died, she sat back and watched her kids turn to skin and bones. At one point, she stayed in the bed for like a month. It was bad. So she obviously was not getting anything for them to eat. Prim was, 7, 8 years old? Katniss was like 11. So now they're going to the square where they're going to have the reaping. Everybody has to attend. Everybody got to see this. The mayor's up there. The main girly that's up there. Effie Trinket. Effie motherfucking Trinket. I love her. Don't ask questions yet. Just let me get through the stories and then you'll know. She does care about them. She cares about her tributes in her own way. Just know that. Is a liaison from the Capitol. Once the tributes are picked, they're going to go head to the Capitol and get ready for the games. And she's the one that just breaks down the itinerary of what's going to happen to, where they need to go, what they need to do, what's going to be happening to them. I want to talk about Sunrise on the Reaping so bad. That book breaks down so much of the lore of where these characters come from. They play the Treaty of Treason. Everybody gotta listen to it. Sit there, shut up, and listen to this. The arena changes every year. This is fun. It's not fun at all, but I mean, this is interesting. The arena changes every year. Newer and more improved technology year after year. Only 2 people from District 12 have ever won. One being Hamish Abernathy. He is the main character of Sunrise on the Reaping. I want to talk about that so bad. But anyway, he won his Hunger Games. We'll talk more about this in the next one in Catching Fire. Every quarter, so the 25th, the 50th, the 75th, which is the next book, they have something called a quarter quell. And Hamish was in the second quarter quell. His Hunger Games had double the amount of tributes. 2 boys, 2 girls from each district. And he won. Okay, so when I was reading Sunrise on the Reaping, like I keep saying, it's more lore-based, but you learn more about characters that are involved. Whoa, I just backed up into the wall. Miss Effie Trinket is in there. Yes, she is. That's why I kind of wanted to do it in the order of which the books came out, starting from Songbirds and Snakes. If I told you about all that, who cares? I don't know these people. I'm just now realizing I'm missing a person. I don't have a picture of President Snow out. He's not really in this book that much. Only 2 people have ever won that come from District 12. Hamish Abernathy, and there's another person that they don't talk about anymore. They do not mention the other tribute ever, so nobody really knows who it was. She is in this book. I can't. Oh. So Hamish shows up. He is drunk as a skunk, whacked out of his mind. I don't think that's an adjective people have ever described a drunk person. He is plastered. 3 sheets to the wind. He falls off the stage. People are laughing their asses off. These are all televised, by the way, across all of Pan Am. I guess they're all doing it at the same time because later on everybody's got to rewatch the reapings from other districts. There's a lot of that going on, like rewatching things. Once they get to the Capitol, they got to rewatch interviews. They got to rewatch things that they just did. I'm like, shit, I did it. I was there. I don't want to rewatch it. Damn. I'm getting distracted. Sorry. Katniss is saying because of Hamish's actions, District 12 is probably getting laughed at like they usually do. District 12 is the fucking Humpty Dumpty here. They are just, oh, our little district. Oh, that's funny. That's cute. Effie Trinket. She says, hey, what's up, bitch? We're gonna do this thing right now. Let's draw some names. So she goes over to the girls' bowl, pulls out one name. Who is it? It's Prim! Oh my god, it is Prim. Shit. Katniss has told her, don't worry, because your name's only in there 1 time. It's not going to be you. My name's in there 20 times. Plenty of other girls here whose name is in there that much. Don't you worry, it's not going to be you. Well, 1 name out of probably 2,000 names. She's going to the games. Well, not so fast. Not so fast. Hold your horses. Katniss runs out into the middle of the square. I volunteer as tribute.
I volunteer as tribute.
This doesn't typically happen in District 12 or the outlying districts. It usually will happen in Districts 1, 2, and 4. They want to make more of a name for themselves in the game. It means more to those kids out there. They're very prideful about going to the games. So it doesn't really happen out here because most of these kids, if they don't get picked, they're like, thank God. Woo! If somebody's name is drawn, you can volunteer to take their place. That is what has happened here. Katniss is going to the 74th Hunger Games. Mitch actually makes a remark as Katniss is going up onto the stage. Wow, you've got a lot more spunk than most people do here. Because she volunteered. He just like stumbles off the stage. I don't know where he goes. He just leaves. And then Effie says, all right, let's pick the boy's name. So she's going over to the other bowl. It is Mr. Peeta Millard. Oh, Peeta. Peeta. I thought about getting that whistle meme of Josh Hutcherson, but clearly I can't be bothered to print out many pictures. So there was a big thing, you know, when Twilight came out, everybody was, are you Team Edward? Are you Team Jacob? I was Team Jacob. Yeah, I was. I like Taylor Lautner. Sue me. But then when he got involved with the baby, like, with Renaissance, Anyway, that's another time. Whose team are you on? Gale or Peeta? I will be honest with you. I'm a Gale girl. I like Gale. Clearly, if I was Team Jacob and now I'm Team Gale, maybe I have issues. Maybe. We're not going to unpack that right now. And he's been there for it all. Are you kidding me? Who is Peeta? Oh, who is you?
Oh, who is you?
Peeta comes up onto the stage. Peeta, come on down. He is the baker's son, but his family lives in town, more well off, but I mean, by District 12 standards. Once they get to the capital, they look like some bumpkins. Katniss, she has a bit of a flashback. Now, this flashback is going to come into play several times throughout the story. When her father died and her mom checked out, she started to step up and try and keep the family afloat. Made sure Prim and her looked presentable and fed so they wouldn't be sent to a community home. They were all on the verge of starvation, about to die. The capital sent them money to like kind of hide them over for a month or so after the explosion in the mines, but that all dried up. That went away quick. And with her mom being depressed and not even moving from her chair, the money is gone, the food is gone. All they had to eat for days was boiled water and mint leaves. If that puts it in perspective for you. In the pouring rain, it was freezing, it was like January, frail and falling over, she can't, whatever. It's bad, okay? And she gets to the backside of the shops in town, and she's walking by the bakery, and I guess they had like a pig or something out there. So she's looking at the pig. Peeta's mom comes out, and Peeta's mom is a fucking bitch. She is rude. Well, Peeta's mom, the baker's wife, comes out hooting and hollering, and she's like, get off my lawn, you bitch. She yells at her to leave. We've already donated. Katniss kind of just finds a tree and she slumps down and she's like, fuck. All right, I'm ready. Take me away. Beam me up. I can't physically go any further. Peeta sees this. He gets yelled at by his mom for f***ing up something, like burning some bread, which he did intentionally. And she's like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Throw those out. Nobody's going to want to buy burnt bread. Throw it out to the pigs. He sees Katniss, throws some bread to her, and saves the day. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, his mom hits him. Yeah, she hit him upside the head. So she's abusive on top of being a cunt. Yeah, tosses the bread to Katniss and he goes inside. He doesn't talk to her. And the next day, they go to school and she sees him there from afar. They never talked. In her head, I wonder if he burnt the bread on purpose so he could give it to me. No, that's probably too far-fetched. Why would he do that? At school, she notices that he watches her from afar, but they never talk to one another. So now back at the reaping, they're shaking hands and she's wondering, like, does he even remember that? Because it's the way she grew up in the scene. You don't do anything for somebody unless you're expecting something in return kind of attitude. Like, everybody's just, you fend for yourself. And so when Peeta took care of her by giving her the bread, she's like, now I owe him. I'm indebted to him. He saved my life. My God, that's the biggest debt to repay. I mean, she's grateful, but also like, damn it. Ugh. After they shake hands, she wonders how she's ever going to thank him while trying to kill him. Because remember, only one of them is going to come out of this. After the reaping, they are brought inside of the Justice Building, which is like their city hall. And this is where they have an hour to talk to friends, family, and say their final goodbyes, possibly their final goodbyes. Katniss's mom and Prim, they come in, they're bawling, they're crying. Katniss is trying to hold it all together. She tells her mom, you better fucking step it up, bitch. I am not playing. You cannot check out like you did. Because if you do, she's gonna die. I'll fight if you fight. Katniss she's not very confident. Goddamn, there's 24 people going into this thing, and only one of them's coming out. The chances of it being me are not that great. She can't let them know that because God knows if Prim thinks she's gonna check out, then it's a mess. Her and Gail have talked. They made up this pact years ago that if one of them is sent to the games, the other person will help take care of their family, the other person's family. So she said, Gail's gonna bring you guys food from the woods. Prim, you can sell cheese from your goat. Do not take any more Tesserae. It's not worth it. And then she says that her mom can trade some medicine as well. Her mom still runs like an apothecary sort of thing, but more for like the seam people. Prim makes her promise that she's gonna try and fight to win. Okay? They're gone. But the next person that comes in is Peeta's father. Now we'll talk about that in one of the later scenes. Oh, it's so precious. Peeta's father comes in. The baker. He gives her a tin of cookies. Like, thanks. Yeah, just what I wanted. And they sit in silence for a while. Oh, I hear somebody coming up the stairs. They don't even say anything for their whole time of meeting. Peacekeeper comes and tells him, all right, your time's up. When he's leaving, he tells Katniss, I'm going to take care of this little one for you, meaning Prim, and I'll make sure she's fed. Why? You gotta wait. Next one that comes in is Miss Madge. And Madge gives Katniss the Mockingjay pin. That is how Katniss got the pin. In the movie, it's like she's at the Hob and she sees it in like a junk pile. A character that's also, they don't say her name in the movies, but I'm assuming it was Greasy Say. Greasy Say, she works in the Hob. She's one of the trading, whatever. I don't know really what the she does. She's there. She's a greasy spoon. In the movie, that's how she gets the pin, is she just picks it up in the Hob. What really happens is she gets it from Madge. Tributes are allowed to take one token into the games from their district. It has to be kind of small. It can't be, she can't bring like her homemade bow. Oh, that's something I didn't mention. I just kind of assumed everybody knew. Katniss is very skilled with a bow, and her father made bows for them to go hunting with. That's where she learned how to hunt, was from her father. Madge asks her if she can wear that into the games. That's why I think she might be gay. Or she just might really, she obviously loves Katniss, otherwise she would have just said, all right, see you later. In my head, I would like to think that she secretly closeted gay. I don't know. Like, why else did you give her a pin like that and ask her to wear it? Okay, now Gale comes in. Tells her to get to a bow as quickly as possible or make one. At first she tells them they may not have wood and thinks about past arena. Tributes were in the middle of rubble and died from snake bites, going insane from dehydration. Another one, Tributes died of hypothermia and made it for a lackluster game with no excitement. Since then, the game makers, obviously the ones that make the game, make the arena and decide what's going in and out of the game, made sure that there's wood accessible, because it's not fun to watch if everybody's just sitting around drying up like a sun-dried tomato. Everybody's just shriveling up. If you're that weak, you can't fight. Who wants to watch that? That's boring. Make sure that they're going to have all the essential elements available. He tells her that, because he says, you're good at hunting, just treat it like that. And she's like, well, yeah, I've only ever hunted animals. I've never hunted a person before. He's like, it shouldn't be any different, right? I'm going to be here for so long. I'm only on chapter 3, and I've been recording for an hour and a half. We may have to take a break. Okay, now all the goodbyes have been said. Now it's time to get on the train and head to the Capitol. They're completely like bombarded with reporters from the reaping till now. She makes a point to mention, I'm not going to break in front of these cameras. I need to keep a stern face so that they can't see my nerves at all. Because if they do, other tributes may see it and they'll use it against you. They're going to pick you apart. Even though I feel like I'm made of glass right now, I can't let that show. And Peeta, he doesn't hide it. I wrote, Peeta doesn't hide it and clearly has been crying and visibly upset. Katniss says maybe this is a tactic to act like a crybaby at a pushover, but when they're in the arena, he'll flip the script and wipe out everybody. So it may just be an act. I'll tell you right now, it's not an act. He's a very soft man. She said that was done once a few years back by a tribute named Joanna Mason. She's going to be talked about in Catching Fire. From District 7, she won hers and she acted like a completely emotional wreck in the days leading up. When she got out there, she was like, wah, wah. She was from the District 7, which is lumber, so she was wielding that axe like, bap, bap, yeah. Watch out. Where am I at? On the Capitol train, it is moving 250 miles per hour, is what Effie's saying. We're going to be at the Capitol in 2 days. From what they learn in school, the Capitol is located in what used to be known as the Rockies. Miss goes and takes a shower, and she makes a point to say she's never had a shower before. She's had baths, never a shower, and these showers are fancy as They've got like 300 settings on the shower. She gets her pin off of her outfit that Madge put on her, the Mockingjay. But when she puts her pin on, she realizes, because at first she didn't even really notice it was a Mockingjay, she just thought it was a weird symbol. The Capitol put out these experiments. They were called mutations or mutts. They started creating these things when the rebellion started. They've had different iterations of different things that they're trying, and one of the early creations, the Jabberjays, they were created in order to be sent out to the districts, and they would record people and conversations. The reports would be given back to the Capitol in the hopes of catching somebody plotting a rebellion. People caught on pretty damn quick and started telling them false information. The Capitol was like, well, that didn't work. Let them go. Let them all go. So all the Jabberjays flew off. They started mating with mockingbirds, and thus Mockingjays were created. So Mockingjays, they mimic sounds. They don't mimic voices anymore like the Jabberjays did. If you're speaking in some sort of like cadence or a rhythm, they will mimic you, okay? So they're like an accidental mutation from the Capitol. Well, actually, they get a lot of them in District 11, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Her father really loved the Mockingjays. Her father comes from something called the Covey. It's not mentioned in these books, so I'll talk more about it later. I've said that so many times. I'll talk about it later. But anyway, the Covey is very musical, and Katniss loves. I don't know. Oh my God! I just scared myself. Oh my God! Oh my Jesus! Literally just scared the shit out of myself. I can't explain that. I have something over here to my right. It's like a backdrop folded up, and I've been seeing it this whole time, but I don't know why when I looked up in my peripheral, it looked like a hand was coming in. My heart just skipped a beat. Like I was saying, her father was very musical and sang a lot, and Katniss used to sing a lot too since he died. She didn't elect to say I'm never singing again. She just didn't do it anymore. The birds would mimic her father singing or whistling, so the pin makes her feel that much closer to him. At dinner, Effie thanks Peeta and Katniss for having some manners while eating and says that the last year's tributes were like wild animals, and Katniss is like, she hates that she's talking about them like that because the last tributes were seam kids, which is what she is, who were always on the brink of starvation. Like, she knew those kids. That's so fucked up. That is fucked up. Whether or not they were friends or not, that doesn't matter. She knew them. Can you imagine sitting in school one day and then the next day, one of your classmates is gone and you're like, they got the hunger. They got game. They watched the reapings from all over the districts. That's what I'm saying. Rewatch everything that happened throughout their days, and I would be so annoyed. Peeta, Effie, and Katniss, whoa, what the f? I totally just spaced out. Well, they talk about where's Haymitch at? He should be out here with us. And then they start joking about how he's always drunk. But Effie says she doesn't find it funny at all because that is their link to the outside world. Songbirds and Snakes is going to talk about the origin of how this kind of relationship with the tribute and their mentor. That's what the whole book is. Well, not the whole book, but that's what a good chunk of the book is about. The relationship between the mentor, which is what Haymitch is, and the tribute. So Effie says it's not funny to joke about how he's drunk all the time. She's like, whether you like it or not, he's your only link to the outside world to get connected with people out here while you're in there. Laugh it up all you want. Haymitch being a mentor, which, if you're from District 1, 2, other districts that have more winners, you'll have more mentors to look to. But in this case, we only got the one. We actually have two, but the other one doesn't exist. I wonder why. Haymitch is there to help them out. He's been through it. He's been through the worst one so far. He's there to explain what you need to do, what could be beneficial to you guys. And also, once they're in the game, you can go around and try and get them some sponsors. And the sponsors, obviously, are going to sponsor them. They give money to buy things that they may need in the arena and send it in. That's it. Effie's like, laugh it up. Laugh it the f*** up. Because without him, you are, you're I wrote, Haymitch enters the cabin, but immediately vomits on himself and passes out. They pick him up, they get him back to his room, and Peeta tells Katniss that he's going to take care of him. Don't you worry, bestie, I got this. And then Katniss starts to think that this is some sort of a plan that Peeta's got going on in his noodle. Oh, I'll make friends with our mentor. I'll be buddy-buddy with him so that I can get all the sponsors. In anger, she throws out the cookies. I don't know why that's funny to me, but I'm mad at you. I'm going to throw out a gift your father gave me. She throws out the cookies outside, sees a patch of dandelions. The day after Peeta threw the bread out to her, she saw a dandelion growing out of the harsh winter. Remember, it was icy, and she knew then that everything was going to be okay. In that moment where she got the bread, she knew seeing this plant, this life come out of cold, wet, icy ground. Okay, the world is going to keep turning. Life will continue to move on. Took it as a sign that she was going to make it through her grief of her father's passing. Her and Prim went and picked a whole basket full of dandelions and made a soup. What if we had, oh my gosh, what if we had a cooking along with the Hunger Games, but dandelion soup? You boil some water and get some mint leaves, and then when they get to the Capitol, they've got a banquet full of weird things. Put a pin in that. We may come back to that. Katniss told Prim that there were other plants that they could go out looking for in the woods that they could eat now that the winter is coming to an end. We can start gathering things out in the woods now. Their mother had a book of plants that were safe for them to eat, so she knows what plants to look for. That comes into play when they're in the arena. One of the plants being a Katniss root. The Katniss root will come back in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That's where she gets her name from. It's like an onion. It grows in the water. Her father always told her if she could always find herself, she would never starve. Okay, spit some bars, Dad. The next morning at breakfast, Haymitch is still drinking because he's trying to give him some advice about what to do in the games. And Katniss is like, do you really think you need to be the one telling us what to do? I don't know if we should be taking advice from you, you drunk. He tells them to stay alive. That was like his mantra. He is saying it kind of like sarcastically. I don't know what to tell you. Stay alive as long as you can. What do I care? And Peeta's getting mad at him, so he knocks out his drink out of his hand. But then Haymitch rears back, punches Peeta in the jaw. She uses a knife to block Haymitch's hand, reaching back for his drink. And that's where you get Effie, in the movie at least. That is mahogany.
That is mahogany.
That becomes like a running joke throughout the whole series. He's surprised and asks if he's actually got some fighters this time around. I'll reiterate it once we get there, but she talks about how hard it actually must be for Haymitch. Well, no f***ing wonder he drinks because he's got to do this every year. He says it at one point in Catching Fire, and again, I'm not ruining it. We've got 3 books at least with Katniss as the main character, so you know it keeps going on. He's like, you're never getting off this train. The games are never going to end. You're going to keep playing these games for the rest of your life. Oh my God, when you say it like that. Can you imagine? Okay, so we're at the 74th. It's been, what, 24 years? He's had to go 24 times to the Capitol with 2 scared kids from District 12 who are probably just skin and bones and don't know how to fight at all or fend for themselves. So you don't have to be buddy-buddy with them, but mentor them. So you have to get close to a certain degree, and he's just got to watch them die. They all agree. I'm going to stay sober enough to help you. I might need a little drinky drink here and there. Train is going through the tunnel of the mountain into the Capitol. The mountains were a key factor in protecting the Capitol from the eastern districts. If anyone tried to scale the mountains, they would be caught by the Capitol's Air Force. The Capitol is like enclosed in the mountains. Train pulls into the station and they see the grandeur of the Capitol. Colors are brighter than they've ever seen before. Peeta is hamming it up for the people, for the masses. And he's like, oh, that is me. My name is Peeta. Peeta Malak. Just to make sure you spell it right. And he says that maybe one of them is rich. We need to go ahead and start building up relationships so we can possibly get some sponsors when we go in. Okay, Katniss is getting made over in the remake center that they have there. Printed off the stylist team, Vinia. I know, it's a tiny little picture. I'm sorry. They don't get really a lot of screen time. Yeah, I'm using all of the film characters. I don't know. I guess I could have looked up like AI imaging or something like that, but I think the movies did a pretty decent job of nailing their looks. So I wasn't really hung up on that. This one, Flavius, I think it's Flavius, and then Octavia. Octavia is supposed to have like teal, minty green colored skin. They've been working on Katniss for about 3 hours. Oh my God. That's number 3. Number 4. Vinia has aqua hair and gold tattoos. Flavius has orange dyed hair and purple lipstick. This is character building. I don't know if you really care. And Octavia has dyed her skin a sickly pale green color. The reason I wrote down their descriptions is to just show you how different the Capitol citizens are. A lot of Capitol citizens alter their appearance, like to have dyed skin. That's not out of the ordinary, and that actually probably shows that you got some money to do it. Like body modifications are a big thing. Outlandish style choices. Katniss is telling them, we don't really do this in District 12. They're like waxing her legs, like just removing days worth of dirt and grime. And they're like, yeah, we got that. Describes them as kind of being ignorant, kind of they're like airheads to her. I mean, they mean well. I don't know. In the same lane that Effie is, everything in the Capitol, it's glamorous, it's beautiful. The games are a privilege, and you get to represent your district in the games. Isn't this a great way to honor your district? Show the world what District 12 can do. They are just like, I love fashion, yay! Fashion, colors, dyed hair, yay! They do mean well, but they don't really think about who they're talking to. There's not really a good bedside manner when it comes to them. And Katniss says she actually liked the team because they're a bunch of idiots. This is the prep team, I guess I should say. And her stylist, Cinna. Cinna was my favorite character when I first was reading the books. He is top notch. Him and Effie are really my 2 favorites. Cinna is not really fazed by the Capitol isms.
I don't know, he kind of seems like a fish out of water when it comes to being in the... I would love to get a backstory about where Cinna came from. In my head, I always think like, no, he wasn't from the capital. He just happened to end up there. I would imagine he comes from maybe District 8, work with textiles, and I just don't know how he would have ended up in the capital. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far in my head. I have not gotten that far yet. She meets Cinna, and Peeta's also getting all this done to him too. He has his stylist named Portia. I mean, Portia's she floats around in the story a little bit. Wow, I love when my camera doesn't focus. That's so fun. I love it. It's not that big of a role, but her and Cinna, this is their first Hunger Games. He looks relatively normal compared to everyone else. Sit and have lunch and discuss the outfits they'll be wearing for the opening ceremonies. Okay. And tells her that they want to do something different for their outfits than what has been done in the past. Because in the past, District 12 is just passed off. It is like, nobody really cares about District 12. The idea of the opening ceremonies for their outfits, tribute, will dress according to where they come from. District 4 is fishing. See a lot of them dressed in fishing nets, fish nets and hooker boots. No. Coal mining always got like the shittiest. They never tried. They gave them like those hard hats with lamps on them and some dusty old overalls. Usually get some baggy coal miners outfits and headlamps, or goes completely naked with coal dust covering their body. And Cinna says he wants to keep her hair in the same style it was on her reaping day, the way that her mother did it. Her and Peeta's outfits will be black leotards with headpieces and long capes, but they will be lit on fire. They're going to represent the actual coal of District 12. They're not going to be the miners. They're not playing in the miners. The fire isn't real, but a synthetic flame he and Portia created. He wants people to start saying Katniss, the girl who was on fire. But in the book, it's actually the girl who was on fire. Past tense, baby. Her and Peeta go down to the stables to get in their chariots. They're going into the opening ceremonies. They're dressed up. They're ready to go. Their outfits are lit on fire. Cinna tells them to smile and to hold hands, and they have the crowd going bonkers, and they're hamming it up. She's leaning into it a little bit more. She's like, I don't want to do this, but if this helps us get some sponsors in the end. Hi. Oh, hi. You want me to kiss your baby? She doesn't kiss any babies. Oh, hey. Yes, I know you. I do remember you. Blowing people kisses and catching roses. She tries to loosen her grip from Peeta's hand, but he yanks it back and he's like, I'm gonna fall. To the city center, and they see President Snow. He is the one I forgot to print a picture off of. Sorry. I need to take a dump. When I go take a shit, I'll print off his picture. They get to the city center. They get to the city center. President Snow, he gives a welcome, and Katniss can tell from the TV screens that her and Peeta are getting way more airtime than anybody else. President Snow, he comes out, he gives a welcome. She doesn't really even talk about it much. She's like, he's a pale white guy. Says,
welcome to the 74th Annual Hunger Games. Good luck.
Go get them, guys. So backstage, some of the other districts give them some nasty ass looks because, they're getting all the screen time. Like, how dare you? How dare you? My name is Abby Lee Miller. How dare you? Peeta thanks her for not letting him fall, and she thinks about if this is a whole act for him as another tactic used against everybody in the games. Like, I don't know. She just thinks too much. And then decides two can play at this game, and she gives him a kiss on the cheek. Thanks for not letting me fall, Peeta. All right, look, I'm gonna take a minute. First of all, I need to get a picture of President Snow up here. Also, I'm just gonna let everything cool the hell down because I've been recording a little over 2 hours and we're only on chapter 6. I can jab my jaws a lot. I can yap. I'm a professional yapper. I always think when I make these breakdown videos, I'm like, damn, is this even enough to fill one video? Am I gonna make it to like 45 minutes? Because I know you guys like the longer videos. And I'm like, this might even just end up being like 20 minutes. But now that I'm in the throes of it, again, because I like to jab my jaws and I like to talk about stuff that I'm passionate about, definitely turn this into a 5-hour event for me. For you guys, I'll edit it down. I'll trim the fat. Anyway, long story long, I'll get a picture of President Snow up here. I'm gonna sit down, rest my back, my aching bones. I'm gonna let everything cool down, come back, and you won't even notice that I've been gone. Okay? And break. Oh, all right, I'm back, and I am so sorry that my footage was all out of focus. I thought it was just when I put the pictures up to the camera, but no. I'm really happy that happened. Yay. We fixed it. It's okay, we move. Let's keep going. Did print off a picture. Mr. President Snow. There you are. So we're gonna add him. I do have actually a big ass picture to put up here too, and I feel like I should just go ahead and do it and get it out of the way. This was the only grouping I could find of every single tribute that's going into the Hunger Games. And we don't know all of the tributes' names. Once you get into like all up in here, they're just district boy, girl from district whatever. Up here we got District 1. We find out his name is Marvel. Glimmer, Kato, Clove, we don't know. I don't know.
12. This girly right here is Foxface. District 6. 7 is down here. 8. I'm sorry, I'm flipping y'all off. 9. We don't learn about any of them really. 10, 11, 12. Yeah. This one right here is Thresh from District 11. This is Rube. This is the one that Katniss was saying. Now that I'm reading my notes, she was like, if she had different skin and different hair, and if she looked completely different, she would look exactly like my sister. But she's just meaning her age. She's the youngest. She sees Prim in her because she's like, oh my god, that could have been Prim. So I have a big ass picture of all of them. I'm gonna put up here. I don't even know what thumbtack that was. That was like number 6. I'm sorry, but if I was like an extra in this movie, and I mean, you don't get any say if you're an extra at all. I don't even think you get a say if you're an actor. But this picture would piss me the off. I don't know if you can see it from there. Well, whatever. I'm not moving the camera. But this girly up here, I would be so pissed off they used that picture. It looks like she's in the middle of a sneeze. Anyways, I digress. These are the tributes. Let's continue. They're going to their hotel room. It's inside of what they call the training center. Each district gets a whole floor to themselves, and since they're in District 12, they get the top floor, which is the penthouse. Effie, she's staying with them, and she says she was talking them up in the Capitol. She's going around calling them her pearls, and this is how detached she is from being in the Capitol. She's like, you get pearls from coal, right? You push down on coal hard enough, you get a pearl. No, man. But Katniss was like, sure, Effie, sure. Katniss doesn't correct her, but says that doesn't make sense, and she was probably thinking of diamonds, which also, she's like, we don't ever make diamonds where we're at. She says she's heard of a machine in District 1 that can press graphite into a diamond, but that's not what they mine for in District 12. That analogy doesn't even make sense, Effie, but thanks for trying. Get up to their room, they go into their respective wings, if you will. Katniss goes to take another shower. She's talking about how I had shampoo, hot oil treatments, conditioners, body wash. I don't even know what the happened to me. She's like instantly dry as soon as she steps on I don't know what she steps on, but she steps on something and it dries her off. Her hair's detangled and styled by touching a box. I don't know. I thought these were interesting things. I was like, what if only? Although I would be out of the job. I'm a hairstylist, so I would be out of the job if we had just a box that would do it. At dinner, Katniss tries some wine for the first time. Go off, queen. Her dessert is a flambe. Katniss is talking to the server. What is it that makes the flames appear on this dessert? Server that's serving them is something called an avox. What they look like. Picture it, if you will. Avox is someone who has in some way committed a crime, betrayed the Capitol, and they get their tongues cut out. I just put this up here just to represent all of the Avoxes. They don't really play that big of a role, but they are involved in the story, so I just want you to know what that is. When she's talking to her, she's like, oh my god, I know you! And the Avox girl, she looks at her like, then in the moment, Katniss is like, oh shit, I should not have said anything. Effie says that it would be impossible if Katniss knew who that girl was, and not to talk to them unless giving them an order. And then she explains that she's an Avox, committed some kind of crime to get her in that position, and had her tongue cut out. Peeta jumps in to help cover up. It looks a little like, why do you think you know her? Explain. If she starts to explain, she could get in trouble. Peeta covers it up and he's like, oh yeah, she does look like the one classmate we have back in District 12. Yeah, you're right. They're heading to their rooms to go to sleep, and Peeta is like, Cinna showed me how to get up to the roof. You want to go? He's saying that to Katniss. They can see all of the Capitol. And while they're up there, he also shows Katniss, because she's looking over and she's like, what's stopping anybody from jumping off? Like, we could end it ourselves. He throws something off the roof and it hits a force field. I guess they had to learn from past things. People have tried it. So they put a force field around the roof so you can't jump. Also is wanting to go up there because he's like, this could be a good place for us to talk about that Avox. Why did I feel the need to cover up? How do you know her? One day, her and Gale were out in the woods hunting. Like I said, it's illegal. You can't do that. Easily gotten herself in trouble just by admitting that. Sometimes it's punishable by death, and they heard 2 people running. They hid out of the way, and these 2 people, the girl and a boy, came running out, and a hovercraft came over them and pulled her up in a net. A spear went through the boy and killed him. Before the hovercraft picked her up, they both locked eyes, and the girl yelled for help. She says she was sure they were both from the Capitol just by their outfits and their style. That's how she knows her. So she admitted to that. Like, yeah, I remember seeing you running through the woods. You looked like you were from here, from the Capitol. You looked like you were running away from something. That would have been just bad news bears altogether. They go back inside. The Avox girl is in Katniss's bedroom. And there's a moment where Katniss is like, would she recognize me? I mean, it was a quick moment. I mean, obviously, she remembers the moment she got scooped up in a hovercraft, and Katniss just says sorry for not picking up the clothes and asks if she can get them to Cinna. She gets into bed and thinks the girl must hate her and can't wait to watch her die. At breakfast, Haymitch asks Katniss and Peeta if they want to be trained separately by him. Sometimes the tributes want to keep their skills hidden from one another, but they both agree no, since they both already know their strength. Haymitch is like, I don't want you to show what you can do while being in the same training center with the tribute. They see how good you are with a bow. We go to find out Peeta's pretty strong. Keep the cards close to the vest. When Haymitch asks what Katniss is good at, she says she's all right with the bow, but then Peeta chimes in. Ma'am, you're quite skilled. She always brings squirrels to his father, says that she hits him in the eye every single time so she doesn't take out too much of the meat. And Katniss tells Peeta, well, don't count yourself out because you are hella strong. I've seen you throw 100-pound sacks of flour over your head. And then she says he also came in second place in their wrestling competition at school. He only came in second to his brother. Peeta's got, I think he's the youngest. He's got 2 brothers, which tells him to spend their time learning other skills that might help him in the arenas. Knot tying, making snares, making fires, survival skills, study plants that could be deadly. Tells them to wait to show their strengths when they go for their private training for the game makers. On the last day, the game makers will watch them and give them a score out of 12. That scene is one of my favorites. Peeta tells Katniss that she's got nothing to worry about because people already are eating her up, but she is taking that as a sign of weakness. I don't want to be eaten up. She's not giving herself a lot of credit. She's like, I mean, I can shoot something. I'm not anything special. They keep bickering back and forth about that same kind of topic. They love you. No, they love you. You're great. Don't talk yourself down. Peeta tells her that his own mother told him in their last meeting that District 12 will finally have a winner. She did not mean Peeta. She meant Katniss. That must blow. Hear that from your mother. I wrote, Katniss holding a piece of bread says she was given help when she most needed it. He's looking at the bread in her hand and she knows that he remembers throwing the bread out to her. She's mad that she even brought any of this up, bringing up that memory, and she's like, I just kind of want to forget about that. If I could push that to the back of my mind, because now it's just reminding me that I owe him. So they're going to the training center. All the tributes are finally all together. Well, they were all together at the opening ceremonies, but whatever, you know what I mean. One of the game makers is going through the rules and she's like, this is a no contact zone. Don't touch each other. You guys are going to be able to fight in the arena. She sees half the boys and girls are way bigger than her. And this is where we find out that districts 1, 2, and 4, the tributes that come from there are called careers. They are trained in a special academy. Their physical education aspect of school. Most of us just go to PE class. They're training basically to go into the games. They've already got a level of training in most skills. They typically win the games all the time. It's technically against the rules to train kids before going into the games. The careers tend to stick together and show off their skills with weapons. Per Haymitch's instructions, don't show off your skills. Katniss, don't you show off that bow. You stop it. Put the bow down. So they go about learning about tying knots, starting fires. I was going to say rummaging for food. And then they make it over to the camouflage. Camouflage. Peeta shines. You know why? Because he would decorate the cakes down at the bakery. So he's got a real talent and a knack for artistry and painting. Peeta notices a girl from District 11, which is Rue. She has been following after both of them, but really kind of paying attention to Katniss. In the shadows, like, this is her. They go to lunch, and at lunch tables, the careers tend to all be together. Everybody else kind of just goes off on their own, except for Peeta and Katniss. Peeta shows Katniss how the bread basket has bread from each district. Now that's going to come back into play. Oh, the one from District 11 is here. It's a crescent moon shape, like different seeds on it. And she starts talking about a time in the woods she was chased around by a bear. They're trying to just build a conversation between the two of them so they can appear unfazed to the rest of the tributes, especially to the careers. So now we get to their last training session, private lessons. This scene is so and I know Suzanne Collins was like, I am in my fucking bag right now writing this scene. Now she can really show off the true skills she's got. Oh, I don't know if I really, this isn't happening all in one day. It's been a couple of days since they've been there, but I just gotta speed this up. It was a lot of filler stuff. Katniss is the last to go in there. Nobody gets to see what they're doing. This isn't televised, so nobody at home gets to see. The only people that are knowing what's going on are the game makers watching tribute going in there to show the skills. She gets up a bow. She notices the game makers are getting tired at this point, are not drunk, then they're just sitting around waiting to go home. They're done. They've been sitting through 23 other tributes, and they're like, hurry up. She goes to shoot. She scores. No, I'm kidding. She's like, this thing is fucking rigid and stiff. She shoots. She misses. The game makers are like, District, nice try. Hits a sandbag, and then she hits one of the lights. Few of the game makers are watching, but for the most part, the rest of them are just not paying attention at all. She gets fucking ticked. She gets mad. A big roasted pig has been wheeled into the game maker's area. Katniss grabs an arrow, shoots it, and it hits the apple out of the mouth of the pig and sticks to the wall. And the game makers are like, the fuck? What the hell was that? Bows and she says, thank you for your consideration. She does not flip them off, but I wish she would have. Oh my god, what does this mean? This could be terrible for you. You're gonna die. You could be an AVOX. She goes to her room. She's not talking to anybody. And this is where she hasn't really cried much, if at all. Everything is bottled up. And she starts thinking, they're gonna come in here and cut my tongue out. They might just kill me right here and now. My family. I told Prim I would try to win for her. What the hell? Now they're gonna starve. She stays in her room and she realizes no guards are coming to get her. So she's like, and joins the rest of them at their dinner. Peeta tells everybody that game makers were just wasted. And I don't even think they were paying attention to me. And Katniss tells everyone what she did, and everybody goes quiet. They're like, what?
What?
Haymitch tells her they most likely won't do anything to your family. It would expose what's happening in the training center, which they don't want to do because it's very private. They'll probably take it out on Katniss in the arena, if anything. When they're sitting down watching the scoring, most of the careers end up with between 8 and 10. Rue surprises, I think, a lot of people and gets a 7, which is not that bad, especially someone for her age and being as little as she is. And then everybody else averages about like 5. Step it up, people. God. Peeta gets an 8. Good job, Peeta. Good job. I remember like Elizabeth Banks and Effie in the movie where she goes like, we can work with that.
We can work with that.
And Katniss, it is your time. She's expecting like a 0, but guess what? She gets an 11. An 11, higher than all the careers. Haymitch tells her that they must have liked her temper, so she f***ing did it. There's a character that does get mentioned in Catching Fire that was involved in this book. His name is Seneca Crane. He is the head game maker of this arena, but he's not mentioned because Katniss would never have run into him, interacted with him in any way. Other than the training, there would be no reason for her to even know his name. In the movie, we see him kind of going, he actually opens the movie, him and another character we'll talk about. Oh my fucking God, I am ruining this. I didn't print off a oh shit. There's another character named Caesar Flickerman, and I didn't print off his picture. God bless America. I've had these pictures printed off for like 2 weeks, and I was like, yeah, I got everybody. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. There's a scene with Seneca Crane and President Snow, and he's like, why the f*** did you give her an 11? She got our attention. I mean, it was pretty impressive. President Snow is just like, he actually has a really good line there. He starts asking, why do we even have the games? If we really wanted to, we could line up 24 people and just shoot them all dead and just be done with it. But it's because of hope. They watch the games and they hope that their tribute or whoever they're rooting for lives. And hope is a very powerful thing. A little hope is effective, but a lot of hope is dangerous. I don't know who wrote that line, but they served. We don't hear about this happening in the book. I thought it was a really good scene, so I just want to talk about it. Katniss goes into her room, goes to sleep, wakes up, and she realizes it's Sunday. It's a Sunday. Anyway, sorry. She starts thinking about like, what is everybody going to be doing at home? Sunday's their day off. And her and Gale would spend their whole day gathering for the week. She thinks about the first time she really met Gale. So let's hear about that. Kind of touched on it a little bit. It was 6 months after her father died. His father died too in the same mine explosion. Both of them with their families, they went to the Justice Building. They're both the oldest in their family. So both of them got Medals of Honor. Medals of Honor or Medals of Valor? Medals of Valor. Is it Valor? I don't know why, but I always thought it was Valor. Anyway, on behalf of their fathers. So that was like the first time she really saw Gale. I mean, I think she saw him in school. Came across one of Gale's snares and was trying to see how he did it, and he caught her and asked how she shot her rabbit. And remember, this is where she was like, my name is Katniss. Even though at the very beginning she said she never thought about him romantically, but now she's thinking about, I guess this last year I did kind of start to think about him more than just a friend. I know I'm a Gale girl, but sometimes I guess I don't want him with Katniss, but I do like Gale better than Peeta. The word friend didn't feel big enough to describe him. Going out to sit with them at breakfast and nobody's talking until she asks what the plan is for the interviews that night. They're getting gussied up for their final interviews, and Haymitch says there's a change in the plan here. Peeta wants to be trained separately. Feels betrayed, but she's like, I don't know why I feel betrayed. I mean, one of us does have to win. Her and Peeta didn't have much of a relationship, and maybe it's time to acknowledge that it's for the best anyway. So she's like, well, damn, fine. See if I care. Effie will coach them on etiquette and interview manners, and then Haymitch is building up their character and kind of how they want to come across. They haven't gotten to hear from any of the tributes really, but all they know about Katniss at this point is that she volunteered for her sister and that she wore a dress made of fire and she got an 11 in training. That's it. We need to expand on that, and this is where we get to the character building that people will start to care, want to send you things in the arena. Katniss is like, this is a bunch of foo-foo. I don't care. I just need to survive. But you gotta play the game. You got to play the game. You gotta pay the cheese tax. Effie tries to teach her to walk in heels, walk in a dress without hiking it up past her ankles, fix her posture. Kind of am glad they skipped over that in the movie because that whole part was kind of boring to me. I was like, all right, I get it. She doesn't like it. Anyway, they switch, and so now Katniss is with Haymitch. Now Haymitch tries his damn best. Katniss has the person. They spend the majority of the time arguing about how Katniss has the personality of a stick. She doesn't want to show the crowd any more than they've already seen. He tells her to bring out that girl that was waving and kissing to the crowd at the opening ceremonies. Where is that bitch? He says Peeta's got that likable approach. He has a self-deprecating nature about him. I don't want to say he's made to do this, but he just gets it. He understands how to play the game. He goes back to her room and has a meltdown, but she trashes the room. And the Avox girl comes in and begins to help clean it up, and Katniss apologizes to her for not helping her out in the woods. Avox girl. She shakes her head, she points to her mouth, and then points to Katniss saying, if you had done anything, you would be exactly like where I'm at right now. You would have no tongue. Day of the interviews has come. Spends most of her time with Cinna. Tells him that she's not going to make it through this part like she has been. And he tells her to be herself, and they'll like her just the way she is. She finds him to be the easiest person to get along with and to have any sort of conversation with. She tries on one of the flaming dresses, and they're ready to go. Yes, we got another spinny, flaming dress. Peeta meets up with them. They're not dressed similar this time, if you care. So Haymitch tells them, y'all need to be acting happy. This is a very happy day. We should all be happy. And Katniss is like, oh yeah, nobody else knows that we're being trained in private, because as far as they all know, we were in the chariot together holding hands. Caesar Flickerman. He is the host of the Hunger Games. He comes from a long line of Flickermans that were hosts of previous games. I'm so sorry I did not print his picture off. I'm very lazy right now and don't want to I don't feel like it. I'll put a picture up here. This is what he looks like. In this Hunger Games, at least, because Caesar always changes his appearance color scheme, if you will. He changes it every Hunger Games. It's Stanley Tucci! And he talks to the tributes one by one. Obviously, all the careers are very proud and boastful. They're very excited to be there. Rue talks about how she's very hard to catch, and wow, I can't spell for shit. I spelled definitely like defiantly and can wait out most of, if not all of them. That's how she plans to get by, is to run away from her district. Thresh. This was his last year. That would piss me the off. Thresh, the one from District 10, they were in their last year, almost made it out without having to go. Caesar tries to talk to him, but Thresh just gives one-worded answers. He is not happy. I mean, none of them, well, not all of them, are really happy to be there. He's got a strong build. Katniss says that if she had to place bets on anybody there, it would be Thresh, even out of the careers. It's time for Miss Katniss Everdene's interview. She goes out there and she's kind of overwhelmed by everybody screaming in her face. They talk about what has impressed her most in the Capitol. She can't think of anything, so she looks for Cinna, and as soon as she sees him, she's like, I mean, I guess I like the food here. The food's pretty good. But everybody starts to eat it up. They're like, oh yeah, that's so funny, because you're starving in 12. That's right. They have her spin in her dress. It catches on fire. Acknowledge Cinna and Portia for creating fabric and whatnot. It wins the crowd over. Caesar's asking, like, how the hell did you get an 11 in training? The game makers are watching from afar, and she's like, can't tell them, can I? Like, she's being very tongue-in-cheek about it. Yes, that's gotta be a secret between us, you guys. I almost killed you with an arrow. Okay, and then it gets a little bit more serious. Caesar asks what Prim said to Katniss when they last spoke in their final meetings. She asked me to win for her, and I promised that I would. And then Peeta gets out there. Oh, God. Him and Caesar have a good back and forth. It just seems like it comes easy to him. Any kind of special girl back at home, I'm sure the girls are falling all over you. And Peeta is like, well, I only really had eyes for one girl. So Caesar is like, oh my gosh, you need to win so you can go back and sweep her off her feet. I don't think so. I don't think that'll work. Because she came here with me. What? What? What'd you say? Yes, Peeta has admitted that he has had a crush on Katniss Everdeen. Oh my god! Part 1 is done. I didn't mention it. I should have brought it up. She actually breaks down the books into 3 parts. And the first one is the Tributes, I think is what she called it. Yes, part 1 is called The Tributes. Okay, we're getting into chapter 10. Part 2, The Games. In the movie, it's like they all have their own solitary interviews and nobody else is up there with them. But in the book, I think that they're all sitting on the stage. Like each one that comes out, then they go and sit on the stage somewhere else. Anyway, Katniss is still on the stage while Peeta has just professed his love. He's trying not to seem all that shocked and fazed by it because she's like, clearly the it couple and the ones everyone is wanting to watch. She's off on her own going up to the suite to beat everybody up there. When Peeta gets up there, she shoves him into a plant and he cuts up his hand pretty bad on the pot. There's a reason I bring that up. And she gets upset with everybody because everybody's like, what's wrong? He made you look desirable. It's perfect. It's what we wanted. I wish somebody would have told me. Hello, heads up. Made me look fucking weak as hell. Haymitch is telling her that it was his idea for Peeta to say that, to announce it, because it's a television show. Like I said, it's a game. That's what they want. People are gonna get so roped up into this romance. If there's even a sliver that you guys could just be together and then maybe, fate, you're gonna send people on such an emotional roller coaster ride. You get people involved and invested and they feel like they can protect them by sending in gifts. They feel like they've got a part to play in their relationship. Cinna and Portia try to explain to Katniss how it looked to the audience and that it wasn't a bad thing. They were like, we were out there and they loved it. So they're trying to bring her down. You're up here, you need to, And also, I should point out, throughout this whole book, Katniss does not think this is a real thing. She believes that it's just for the cameras, just for this storyline that they're playing. This isn't real. Truly, you don't really like me. In her mind, she's like, well, I wish y'all would have and told me the narrative here. I could have played along. They were like, no, your honest reaction was exactly what we wanted. Haymitch says Peeta made her look desirable since her interview was only just passable. I mean, you are so rude to her, Haymitch. I thought she did a pretty good job. Katniss apologizes, and then she says she feels bad because she just pushed him into a plant and cut up his hands the day before the game, the night before we go and fight to the death. After dinner, they rewatch the interviews. I'm telling you, they rewatch everything here. Like, why do I have to rewatch this? I was just there. Feels like a sham watching herself act like something she isn't. God, if the people back home saw me, which they are, this is not me. It's almost like she wants to shout out to them. Don't worry, guys. This is not me. This is just a capital version of me. Effie and Haymitch have to say their goodbyes and they go do their bidding to get sponsors. This is the last time they could possibly be seeing each other. Effie's trying to make them feel better. You guys have been the best tributes I've ever had come out of 12. And maybe now they'll move me to one of the better districts. She's meaning it to be really nice and a compliment, but you're like, thanks, Effie. Haymitch tells them to run and don't try to go into the cornucopia. There is a cornucopia. The cornucopia is what has all the weapons and shit in it, okay? The best stuff is inside of the cornucopia. Every year it is a fucking bloodbath, ruthless. So Haymitch is like, don't go for it. Run and hide and look for water and stay alive. Time to go to bed, and neither Katniss and Peeta can sleep, and they're both on the roof listening to the Capitol have a big ass party. People are going nuts. I mean, this sounds really bad. I would love to party in the Capitol. Not for this reason. They look like they can throw it down. Maybe a New Year's Eve party or something. I don't know. I guess 4th of July is Reaping Day. Never mind. And Katniss admits that what keeping her up was not thinking about her family in District 12, what kind of arena they will be placed in. I forgot to write this in my notes, so I just want to say it before I forget it. Past arenas, they become like a museum. They used to use one place in particular for every Hunger Games. It was like one training center that they would use, but that thing got blown to bits. Anyway, so they had to expand it, and every year they find a new place and they build an arena. I actually don't know where the hell it's placed at on the map. I guess it can't be that far from the Capitol. They have their games afterward, and it's usually Capitol citizens have a fucking vacation and go look around the arena. Oh my god, this is where that kid from District 8, he stabbed District 5 boy to death. Yes, I totally remember seeing that. Yeah, it's like a sightseeing thing. Katniss says she wasn't staying up thinking about her family. Like what most people would be thinking about in their last possible days being alive. Your family, your friends, that extended warranty I never paid for. Just thinking about the arena and if it's gonna be playing to their skills. I also would like, okay, here's a question, and maybe somebody else has an answer for me. I wonder how far in advance the game makers have the arena already designed. I would imagine it takes a bit of time. They probably spend the whole year leading up to it designing one. But I wonder if they change anything. Like, what if the game makers saw Katniss is really good with a bow? So if they really wanted to with her, they could manipulate the arena. Her having a bow really wouldn't matter. I don't know how you would do that, but whatever, you know what I mean. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm making any sense. If anybody's got the answer out there, Suzanne Collins, are you listening? How far in advance are the game makers making the arena? And do they change it after they've seen the private training lessons? She's hoping for something with a lot of trees, and any arena in the past that was more of ruins or a wasteland based was not enjoyable to watch and always ended way too quickly. The dry, deserty rubble ruins, they're not that exciting because people just shrivel up and die. Peeta tells her that what's keeping him awake is the thought that the games will change him into something that he isn't. Katniss is not really clicking what he's saying. What did Justin Bieber just say in that video? Are you not clocking?
You're not getting it. It's not clocking to you.
I don't want them to change me as a person at all, because at the end of the day, I'm still the boy from District 12 who works in the bakery, and I was the one that gave you the bread in the rain that one day. This is the first time it's brought up verbally, though. Well, okay, so in the movie, that little moment they have seems a lot more lighthearted, more, not cheerful, but it's a little bit more hopeful. In the book, they really have a disagreement. They're not seeing eye to eye at all. And so Peeta, he just kind of gets frustrated. He's like, oh, off, never mind. I'm going to bed. They don't end their conversation on a really positive note. He doesn't want to get molded by the Capitol into something different. And she doesn't really understand that. She's like, what? Finds it hard to comprehend and kind of ridiculous, and they end their conversation more agitated with one another and pretty harshly for two people who are about to possibly die in the Hunger Games, is what I wrote. There's no like, you know what, good luck to you. If it ain't me, I hope it's you. It ends pretty salty, and Peeta actually, he says, give my mother my best when you get back to District 12 for me, because I guess I'm gonna die. Next morning, Cinna is the one to go get Katniss, and I'm guessing Portia went to go get Peeta. On the ride to the arena, a peacekeeper or gamic, I don't really even know what it was. It was like some kind of doctor, put a tracker in Katniss's arm to make sure she's not walking off the fucking map. The stylist will go with the tribute to the launch room, as the Capitol calls it, but in District 12, they call it the stockyard. Animals will go. It's the same as taking animals to a slaughterhouse. Cinna helps her get dressed, and he pins her Mockingjay pin. She admits, she's like, honestly, I kind of forgot I had that thing. He says that they almost disqualified homegirl right here, Glimmer, from District 1 because she had a ring. Oh no, excuse me. It wasn't. I wrote District 1, who's Glimmer, but then I wrote the name Clove. One of the two. If I know. Had a ring, disqualified. If you remove the gem, it was a poisonous spike. Ma'am, you cannot bring that here. Ma'am, no, you can't bring poisonous spikes here. She claimed to have known nothing about, which just tells you what kind of person they are. Oh, I didn't know that was there. Oh, shit. Who put that poisonous spike in my ring? Cinna asks if Katniss wants to talk at all, and she says no. Just grabs his hand to hold on to. It's time to get on her platform. They put him in these tube things that are going to raise up the platform. Guys, this is it. I will tell you, I fucking love how they did this in the movie. It's so eerie. They raise up on their platforms, and Katniss is like, goddamn, it's bright. Blinded by the bright sunlight, but can smell the scent of pine trees, the voice of the game announcer, Claudius Templesmith, is heard saying, ladies and gentlemen, let the 74th annual Hunger Games begin. And then we get the countdown. Ugh, gosh. I'm tired. Call it a night. It's 11 o'clock at night. I don't know why I decided to do this. This is taking forever. I'm so out of practice. I'm so out of whack. It won't make any difference to you. Half a second and I'll be back. If I look slightly different, the makeup is not makeuping how I want it to, or my hair is different, whatever, shut up. I am gonna go sleep. Maybe I'll get another burst of energy. It might be like 2 a.m. and I might start doing this again. I don't know. Anyway. Well, I'm back. It's a new day, it's a new dawn, and I'm feeling good. Anyway, that was cheesy. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's just get back into it. Shut up. We're in the games. It's fucking go time. Let's go. It counts down for 60 seconds. If you step off of your little platform before the 60 seconds is up, laced with explosives all around, so you will blow up and you will die. I almost kind of wish, that they would have had somebody be like, whoops, and then blown them up. Is that bad? Katniss is looking around. They're in some kind of valley full of trees. It looks very much like the woods at home. There's a lake on one side. There's the big cornucopia. It's a big horn shaped. It's supposed to be gold. In the movie, they didn't paint it gold, but it's whatever. Who cares? Inside of it has all the best weapons. It's got her bow. It's got a spear, a sword, big, long hatchet sort of curved thing. I don't know. It's got all the goodies inside of there. Set up they're all at an equal distance. As it spans out closer to the platforms, it's less and less. A couple essentials. There's like backpacks and tents and stuff like that scattered about. She says that she sees like a plastic sheet, like a little square of plastic. There is food in the cornucopia too. Apples, there's fruit, bread. Katniss is able to see the bow and arrow, and then she begins a debate in her head. This is all while the countdown's going off. Should I go for it? Because Haymitch has never actually seen me run, and I can run really fast. I've ran faster than all the kids at school, and I think I could go get it, and then I could dip. If you think about it, none of the other tributes, except for Peeta, know how good she is with a bow, because her training is not televised, so nobody knows how she got an 11. Like I'm saying, cards close to the vest. decides, I'm gonna go get that bow. I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence. And she starts to take her stance, and at the last second she looks up and she sees Peeta, and she says, I couldn't really tell, maybe the sun was in my eyes, but for a split second it looked like he was shaking his head no. And did that mean no, don't go running for it? What did that mean? That last second, the gong goes off, everybody runs. It is the bloodbath. Welcome to the bloodbath. She missed that one little second of running to the bow, and then she's like, oh, well, I guess I'm not going for it. Really ticked off. She's like, thanks a lot, Peeta. This is your fault. She grabs up that piece of plastic. There's also just a random loaf of bread. She scoops up the bread, but just as she does that, the boy from District 9, which would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, this one right here, they start grappling and fighting one another, but then he is hit with a knife from Clove. He's dead. Clove, she's a knife-wielding woman. A bunch of other people that are being killed currently, but Katniss isn't really paying attention to them. Give me a second, let me get through this part real quick and then I'll tell you about it. Did I mention she was able to get a backpack too? Clove throws another knife. It kind of sticks into the side of Katniss's bag. Thanks. And then takes off. Clove kind of just, well, I'm not running in there after you. I'm going back to the cornucopia. She runs and she runs and she runs deep into the woods. All the while, I think this would be the thing that really bothered me is the screaming. I really liked how they did this scene. Although, I wish, this is my wish they would have had a steady cam in there. It's so shaky, you can't tell what's happening. They take out all the sound, weird, eerie. You don't hear any of the noise going on, but then sound comes back. Faintly hear everybody screaming and yelling back at the cornucopia. I think that would I would start crying. She's into the woods. I was about to start singing it. And then we hear the cannon fire. Cannons signal when a tribute has died. They're going crazy right now. There are 11 dead in the first hour, nearly half. 13 left, and Katniss is unaware if Peeta is still around. She didn't even know where Peeta went to. That was the last thing she saw was him shaking his head no. Maybe it was probably a good thing that Peeta distracted me and I didn't go get that bow, because now seeing it for myself, I don't think that I would have done as well as I thought I would. She's going through her backpack. She's got some pretty decent stuff in there. A sleeping bag that reflects body heat, crackers, jerky, a bottle of iodine, which they can use to clean their water if they can find a water source, matches, a small coil of wire. She has some sunglasses, which I kind of wish they would have put in the movie. They don't ever mention that in the movie at all. And the reason I bring that up is not that I'm like obsessed with sunglasses. There's a point to them, but you don't know about it yet. An empty half-gallon water canteen, but no water. She's got to find some water. Now this is something also I wish they would have stressed in the movie. This first chapter or two, Katniss is like about to die, about to croak and shrivel up. She is desperate to find some water, getting to the point where she's getting delirious. Honestly, in the movie, and I get it, you don't have a lot of time. They just kind of cut to her being at the stream like, hey, I found my water. She's worried the only place that there will be to get water will be the big lake, and she knows a lot of people are going to be flocking to the lake. If that's the only water source, then everybody's got to go there. There's wildlife in the arena, and she figures they need water too, so there must be more than one source of water. She's seen some rabbits running around already, so she's like, okay, you wouldn't be all the way over here if you couldn't find water. It starts getting dark, and she climbs up into her tree. She ties herself in with her belt. Katniss is a very, very skilled climber. She can climb very high. Every night they play the anthem in the sky and they project who has fallen, if anybody has fallen that day. Let's break down who has died. We've got the girl from District 3, boy from 4, the boy from 5, both tributes from 6 and 7, the boy from 8, both from District 9, and the girl from 10. That is what we're looking like. Weeded out quite a bit. Shows Katniss that Peeta is still alive and Rue is still alive. Pretty much all of the careers are still accounted for. Katniss ends up falling asleep. She wakes up because she hears some branches snapping and she's like, there's someone not that far from her that's starting a fire. You big ass idiot. Why would you do that? In the middle of the night, you're sending up a smoke signal. You would have to be looking up in the trees to find Katniss, but still, she's in the vicinity, so she's like, put it out. There's an hour or two that passes and nobody's come by to clean house. But then, out of nowhere, we start to hear, it was a girl. It was the girl from District 8. She starts squealing like a pig. She dies. Actually, she doesn't die right away. Pleading with the careers, save her, spare her. But they end up, they do something to her. We don't know how exactly she dies, but I'm assuming she just... Careers have formed an alliance, and this tends to happen in the beginning, but as it gets closer to the end, ooh, we got some backstabbers. And the group starts to leave. Get this, bestie. And they stop right under Katniss's tree. She's like... confused because they haven't heard her cannon fire. So they're like, did you kill her? I just saw you stab her, but she's not dead yet. What's going on? And then Katniss hears a voice saying that they're wasting too much time and they need to go ahead and move. It is Mr. Peeta Malark. Peeta has joined the alliance of the careers. Why? Why did you do that? Katniss, beside herself, she kind of slips and she falls. I'm picturing her, she like flips over, dangling from the tree branch, so she's about to fall out of the damn tree. She's holding herself up. Peeta says, I'll go back and I'll finish her off so we can just move on. Well, Peeta goes back. They hear the cannon fire and she is officially dead. I've had it. Officially.
I've had it officially.
Well, Peeta is off killing off the girl. Clove is asking, why don't we just go ahead and kill Peeta right now? Why is he hanging around as like an old dead goose? Kato, he's probably the best way to find Katniss, so then we can get to her and then we'll just kill him off from there. Then they also bring up, how the hell did she score an 11? So that tells Katniss that Peeta has not mentioned what her skills are with a bow. So they still don't know that Katniss can shing. Bows don't make that sound. Whatever. Peeta comes back. Girl is officially dead. They move on. Katniss is up in the tree and she starts thinking about what people back home probably think about Peeta. You had a big ass crush on this girl at your interview the other day and now you're working with the enemy? Oh, Katniss explains that they don't like the careers back in 12 because they see them as being snobby. They would love to go into the games and fight to the death. They don't have the highest opinion about careers. Katniss comes down from her tree. She knows that the cameras are on her and everybody's watching at home to get her reaction, so she gives a little yeah, I was listening. I was up there and I know everything now. And I know everything. Check some of the snares that she's built up already. I know this is going really kind of fast. It's been like a whole day. So she built up some snares. She fell asleep. She was betrayed by Peeta. Like, it's been a day. She's got some... Excuse you. She's got some rabbits, so she starts cooking that up. But like I said, this is where the dehydration is starting to come in. Sweaty, getting headaches, fatigue. When she pees, her pee is turning dark brown. Like, you're just peeing out bile at this point. Body is shutting down. She goes to sleep, but she wakes up feeling worse. Body is just like, it's me after I finish one of these videos. Comes down out of the tree, and she just kind of like looks up, hoping that Haymitch is watching, or some of their sponsors that they should be getting. And she just is like, oh, please give me some water. Okay, this is something I think about. I'm really like sidetracking here just because she mentioned her pee. It got me thinking. I have thought about this since I started reading this book 10 plus years ago. What do they do for the girls who are on their period? Like, what if you just get your period as soon as you get into the arena? I would quit. That would be my 13th reason. I would probably end myself and be like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. Well, I wonder if they gave them some kind of pill, like a birth control sort of situation, kind of suppresses the period for the month. Who fucking knows? What if you have an IBS girly in there? What if they get the shits? Oh my god, have a whole bowel movement in front of the entire nation of Pan Am? Like, sometimes my tummy is upset. I don't need y'all seeing this. I'd be like, hey, turn it off. Look away. Go that way. I'm just shitting. Find the right thing to wipe with. Oh no, can you imagine? Then she starts to speculate, begins to speculate different reasons why Haymitch hasn't helped her yet. Is he too drunk to be paying attention? Do they not have any sponsors? If Peeta just it up for everybody, if he's betrayed Katniss to possible sponsors at home, where they just like, oh well damn, I'm not gonna support this. I do not support this. This is not my president. She has a thought, well maybe he hasn't sent anything because I must be getting pretty close to water. It's not just 3 or 4 hours. This has been like 2 to 3 days where she's gone without water. She hasn't stayed in the same spot. She moves throughout the whole wooded side of the arena. I must be getting close. That's why he hasn't sent me anything yet. Sure enough, falls over and just lays on the ground, and she's like, it. If I die, I die. On the ground that she's laying on, it's mud. What is mud? Wet dirt. Ah, yay, she found water. If you had walked 2 more steps and looked over, you'd be at this little pond. Fills her canteen and uses the iodine drops. That's why those it purifies the water. Climbs up on another tree and eats more of her rabbit. Full belly. Now I feel great. She falls asleep. When she wakes up, a wall of fire is to her side, to her right. I don't know what side it's on. What the yeah, it's a big wall of fire. Falls out of the tree and shoves everything in her bag. She's panicking. She's panicking. Follows all the animals that she can see. You know the landscape better than she does. As she's looking at the fire, she's like, doesn't look like a real fire flame. Flame of fire? It's a mutation. It's something created by the game makers. Concludes, well, they must be trying to move me somewhere else on the map. In the movie, we get to see the inside of the game makers thing, their office, and it shows that she was getting too close to the edge of the map. Needed a way to move her back in and get her closer to everybody else. Fireballs the size of apples are being hurled in her direction. This is probably brought on by the game makers because the last couple of days have been very uneventful and nobody's died yet. They're probably getting board. Here's a wall of fire to spice things up a little bit. She's getting caught in the flames. Her jacket gets torn and ripped and burnt up. Fireball gets thrown at her calf, burns a big old hole out of her fucking calf. She's getting the works, burning her hands. It's not looking good. This hurts. Breathing in the smoke, throwing up everything she's got in her stomach, which is not a lot. That little pond that she found earlier could not cut it, but she finds a little small pool of water. She crawls in there. Has a little flashback of cold water is good for burns. I remember my mother saying something about that because back home, her mother, who ran the apothecary for the seam, people would come in with burns and all kinds of things from the mines. I remember a time a young man was brought in after a mining accident where his leg was burned all the way to the bone, and she ran out to the woods while her mother and Prim take care of him for as long as they could. He died. But if people were coming in medically, their worst moments, she was like, I just couldn't stand to be in the same house as all that, and I left. And she was like, it shocked me that Prim, soft girl right here, was willing to step up to the plate every single time, had no fear when it came to that. Katniss was not. She's like me. My cousin's in nursing school right now, and I'm like, thank God you're willing to do it, and thank you for all you nurses and doctors out there that are willing to do it, because it ain't me. I don't have a good bedside manner. I freak out, and I can't look at it. I am very much Katniss in that kind of situation where if something medically is going on, I'm like, what do you want me to do about it? Have you tried walking on it? Ew, why does it look like that? Dozes off for a little bit, but is woken up by the sound of the careers. Yeah, the careers are running towards her. She's able to limp out of the water and up into a tree, and she climbs. They've chased her to the tree, and a couple of them try to climb up it, but she taunts them knowing the people in the Capitol will eat it up. She's asking them like, hey, how's it going, guys? Crazy day, huh? What a wild day. Cato tries to climb up. He breaks the branches. He's too fat. No, I'm kidding. Big back. He breaks the branches. Glimmer, homegirl right here from District 1, she got the bow and arrow, and she starts shooting up arrows. Does not hit. She's not that great. Katniss is like, I'm actually judging you right now. Okay, District 1. Peeta chimes in. Can't stay up in the tree forever, so why don't we wait her out? She's got to come down at some point. A couple hours later. This isn't happening while the careers are like standing up looking at them. Careers have settled down. They started fall asleep, do whatever they're doing down there, making friendship bracelets. Katniss tries to go to sleep. She sees a pair of eyes staring at her from across the way, and she's like, the fuck is that? Is that an animal? It's little Miss Rue, and Rue is pointing at something behind Katniss. There's a nest above Katniss. Tracker jackers. They are genetically mutated wasps. They're mutts from the Capitol. Hang on, I wrote it down. Designed by the Capitol during the war. They were planted around the districts like landmines. They have a gold body, and their sting leaves a plum-sized welt and powerful hallucinations. Most people who get stung 2 or 3 times suffer from the hallucinations. Any more, and people have gone mad or even died. After the war, the Capitol dug up all the nests around the city, but left the ones in the districts as a threat. She grabs the knife that she got from Clove, using your own weapons against you. Starts to saw the branch a little bit while the anthem is playing, cover up the noise for the careers. She doesn't get very far. The anthem kind of dies out because nobody died that day. Goes back to her tree branch, waits till dawn, and when she gets back down there, a little silver parachute is there. Parachutes are the sponsors, the gifts that are brought into the arena. It's a gift from Haymitch, well, from the sponsors, sent in through Haymitch. Medicine for her burns. So she applies her medicine, falls asleep, and when she wakes up, the burns are pretty much healed. They're not completely gone, but they're a lot better. Rue is she's still there. She tells Rue, I'm gonna saw the nest. You might want to leave. And she hops away. She has been running around branch to branch from tree to tree, and that is how she's been getting around. Katniss is like, you sly little motherfucker. Go off. That's what she says. She's like, I'm fucking quick, y'all. I'm fast as fuck, boy. She figures that's probably how she got her 7 in training, showing how quick she is and how she's able to climb up into the trees. Katniss goes back up to the nest. The tracker jackers are beginning to stir, and they sting her while she cuts the nest. Katniss is suffering from this too. She's getting jabbed. It falls down, busts open. The careers, ooh, they're feeling it. All except Glimmer and the girl from 4 get away, and they leave their supplies there. The girl from 4, she dies. Oh, shit. I think I'm up to like number 8 of thumbtacks that I've dropped onto the floor. Katniss gets to the pond from earlier to throw off the scent from the tracker jackers, but on the way over, Glimmer is... she's dead. All right. I was going to build it up some, but no, she died. You hear their cannons fire. The cannons all firing at your yacht. Sorry. Katniss goes over, gets her bow. She's like, thank you. But while she's getting the bow, she starts to hallucinate. She sees a butterfly the size of a house that explodes. The trees turn into a river of blood. Ants begin to crawl out of her skin. All of a sudden, she sees Peeta. Peeta! And he's like, what are you doing? You need to leave. Run. Having a hard time deciding if he's even really there talking to her. She doesn't really question it too much. Takes off and runs. runs, she can see Kato coming up behind Peeta, but we don't see what happens. She dips, collapses, and passes out. And then just as she's passing out, she has the thought, Peeta just saved my life. I think it was Peeta. I don't know. I can't tell what's up or down right now. Hallucinogenic state currently, but sleeping. Visions of every nightmare she's ever had. Father's last moments. The mine explosion. All kinds of ways Prim could die. She wakes up as the poison begins to leave her body. Judging by how bad her body aches, she's been laying in the same spot for quite a bit. While she's lying there, just has some thoughts going through her mind about Gale had said to her the day of the reaping about how they could go off and live in the woods somewhere and fend for themselves. And now I'm not thinking about me and Gale living in the woods, but me and Peeta living off in the woods. But then she says she shakes the thought from her head because she doesn't see Gale and Peeta coexisting in her mind together. Cleans herself up. She cleans off her new weapon. She goes out hunting. She kills a couple of things. She killed something called a grousling, not a gooseling. Starts a little fire and starts to cook it up, and she hears Miss Rue behind her. Katniss invites her to come and eat with her, and they can form their own alliance as well. Rue shows Katniss treatment that she's been taking care of her while she's been out, but she says, let me show you this little trick. Some leaves, you chew them up and put them on your venom bites. I pulled the stingers out of the Tracker Jackers. If you didn't do that, you'll be hurting for a while. The leaves, she chews them up, puts it on her wounds, draws the poison out. And then Rue talks about how they have the leaves like that at home back in District 11. Remember, it's agriculture there, so they're out in the fields all the time working. Tracker Jackers, there was a lot of nests left in District 11, so people get stung there quite a bit. Katniss is like, your district is agriculture, so no wonder you know how to move from tree to tree. No wonder you know the plants. Duh. That's how she's been kicking it. They go through their supplies and show each other what they have. Rue is like, oh my god, how did you get these? The sunglasses. I didn't mention it, but Katniss had tried them on, but she's like, it made me feel kind of, it was way too dark. I couldn't see out of them. Rue is saying, I can't believe you have a pair. And Katniss is like, you want them? I'm not going to use them. They're too dark. I can't see anything out of them. And she says, well, they're not for the sun. They're for at night. They're night vision sunglasses. Moon glasses. They help you see in the dark. Rue tells her that back home during the harvest season, they wear the glasses to work through the night, asking questions. They're building up a friendship, and Katniss is like, well, don't you go to school at all? She says, well, no, not during the harvest time. We gotta work, boy. Rue says that she is the oldest of, I think, 5 kids. I think while they're eating, she's like, I've never had a whole grousling leg to myself. It just shows you how District 11 and 12, they are struggling. Grousling leg is not even that big. It's about that big, like a chicken wing. Both of them snuggle up into a tree, and the anthem plays. Rue tells her she was out for 2 days, and no one other than Glimmer and the girl from 4, from when the Tracker Jackers fell, nobody else has died since then. So Katniss tells her that she's not sure what she saw with Peeta was really happening. The lover boy act is all real. I don't think so, because now he's joined the alliance, but also he saved my life. Maybe. I'm not sure if that was really happening. Rue says, oh, I thought it was all real. The lover boy act. And yes, he did save you. I did watch it. I was watching it like a movie. Confirmed, Peeta did save Katniss from Kato. She tells him that he's not with the careers anymore. From what she's been seeing, she's been spying on them. Careers have taken over the cornucopia, and all the supplies and everything is in a giant pyramid next to the cornucopia. And then Katniss is like, well, they can't last very long if it's gone. Both of them fall asleep. The sound of the cannon wakes Katniss up. They don't know who it is that just died. It's nobody around them. So they're going through their head of, okay, who could it be? Who do we have left? Marvel, Kato, Clove, this one. Boy from District 3. She ends up calling District 5 girl Foxface. She never learns her name, but she just says she looks like a fox and she moves like a fox, so therefore, Foxface. District 10 boy, Thresh, Rue, Peeta, and Katniss left. But then they start plotting on how they're going to destroy all the food in the pyramid. Oh, how are we going to do that? And Rue is like, I can tell you where there's a good lookout position where I go to spy on them, and you can get a good vantage point from there. They've created a plan on how to distract them. They're going to make 3 fires so that the careers will get distracted by the smoke. Look at the first fire, they'll go look to the second fire. Yeah, whatever. Wild goose chase here. Hopefully to bring them away from the cornucopia long enough that Katniss can go there and just destroy the food somehow, some way. She can get rid of it. And then Katniss asks, why would they keep the boy from District 3 around them? Like I said, District 3, they're kind of the nerds. The careers typically come from 1, 2, and 4. He's 15, but he looks like he's like 12. He's not nearly as strong as them. So seriously, what are you bringing to the table here? Rue says that she's only ever really seen him standing guard and keeping watch with the spear. Rue points out Katniss's Mockingjay pin, and she said, that's how I knew I could trust you, is because you wear the Mockingjay pin. And we can use the Mockingjays in here to signal back and forth that we're going to be okay. We used to do that at home in District 11 to signal the time and let everybody know the end of the day was here. And that's where you get the, wait, how does it go? I don't know if I can whistle. I'm not that great of a whistler. Katniss whistles because she doesn't want to sing, tying back to, she doesn't consciously say, I'm not singing
anymore.
Let me see if I can do it better. Let me wet my whistle. Okay, that was better. So they part ways. Katniss heads to the cornucopia, and then she starts to think, what if Rue dies? What if somebody comes up behind her and this plan doesn't work? She's not able to get away from them quick enough. Or what if it goes right and then it comes down to me and her, or me, her, and Peeta? Like, somebody's got to die. What if I have to be the one to kill her, or she's got to be the one to kill me? But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. At the cornucopia, gets up into Rue's little hiding spot. She can see the allies. She can also tell that they're still feeling the effects of the tracker jacker stings, and they were not smart enough to take out their stingers. The pyramid that they have set up seems to be arranged with supplies that was left over from the bloodbath. They've got food, weapons, bags with all sorts of protection. And then the careers, they see the smoke from the first fire, and they're like, oh, let's go. Let's ride. Power Rangers, assemble! They leave District 3 boy there to stand guard. Katniss can hear them talking, and Marvel asks Cato if he'd still be around, but Cato is like, I know what I did. I used the sword on him, and I know I cut him deep enough. Sorry? What? What did you say? When Cato was running back from the tracker jacker incident and Peeta was telling Katniss to leave, they got into a fight, and Cato apparently stabbed him with a sword. But he isn't dead yet, but it's only a matter of time. He's like, I'm not worried about Peeta coming back. I know where I stabbed him, and he's surprised that he hasn't even bled out yet. Surprised he's actually still holding on, but it won't be long. She's trying to figure out the best course of action to get around the District 3 boy. All of a sudden, she sees Foxface jump out, and she's like, what the hell? Where'd you come from? But she is quick on her feet, agile and quiet. She says it almost looks like a little dance she's doing. She's like jumping from side to side, teetering, and there comes a point where she like almost falls back, and she says that she heard her do a little yip, like a and she said, what's going on? She's so quiet. Why did she make a noise? Because it's lined up with explosives. There's a pattern to walk to get to the pyramid, and she almost set off an explosion. Foxface, she's able to get a couple of pieces of food, but she doesn't take too much. She doesn't want them to turn around and be like, where the hell did all this food go? So she just takes a little bit here and there. She dips. She runs it back out. Katniss gets a little bit closer, and she's hiding behind one of the platforms that rose them up into the arena. She realizes that landmines planted around the platforms have been dug up and lined around the pyramid. That is why they kept District 3 boy, because District 3 works with electronics, also design explosives. The landmines deactivate as soon as the game starts. So he found a way to turn them back on, and they planted them around their supplies. That is very smart of you. Katniss is saying that a slight change in pressure and they'll all go off. And then she talks about, so this is why I brought it up when I was like, I kind of wish they would have shown some kid stepping off the platform. It's morbid, I'm sorry. Katniss talks about there was one game where that did happen. A girl actually had her token, a wooden ball. I don't know why you would, okay, whatever. She must have been from District 7, lumber, whatever, doesn't matter. It slipped out of her hand and fell, and it landed on the mines around her platform, and it blew her up. Notices a bag of apples hanging off the side of the pyramid. She takes her arrow, shing, she cuts through the top. She has to do it a couple of times. But needless to say, the apples fall, and the whole thing explodes. The entire pyramid of food is gone, and supplies, but mostly the food. Katniss is knocked off of her feet. She's thrown back several feet. She gets the wind knocked out of her, and then realizes, I can't hear. Oh my god, I'm deaf. She's lost hearing in her left ear. There's a big ringing in her right ear. She can't hardly hear nothing. She feels panicked by this because she uses her hearing to hunt. So she's like, ah! Ah! Careers come back. Cato. Katniss says that he is throwing the biggest tantrum, like a toddler, about what happened. The rest of them are going through, trying to salvage anything that they can. Cato yells at the boy from 3 and asking what happened. He starts to run away, but Cato, yeet, pulls him back, twists his neck, and he kills the boy from District 3. And then the careers figure that whoever set off the explosion probably died while doing it, but the explosion was so loud that they wouldn't have heard the cannon fire, so they just assume that whoever did it is dead as well. They don't really go off looking for anything. But Katniss, she can't even hear herself. She can't even hear the District 3 boys' cannon go off. She sees the hovercraft come in and pick him up, which I don't know why the careers didn't pick up on that. When someone dies, the hovercraft comes in, brings down a crane, picks him up, and takes him away. I don't know, maybe they just were assuming like, well, shit, if you set off that big of an explosion, your body is just spread out everywhere and they can't pick you up right now. Maybe that was their logic. Can't stand up because she's dizzy. There's a whole big moment where she's like, I can't even get to my feet right now. And the careers put their glasses on as night comes and they go back out into the woods. So they've been hunting at night and they all have their moon glasses is what I'm going to call them. Katniss puts on her glasses and she can see the anthem from the little bush she's lying in. And the cannon that her and Rue had heard earlier was from the District 10 boy. He is gone. Ouch. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She falls asleep and wakes up to hearing Foxface laughing in the morning time. Oh, God. Because she's like standing in the rubble and she's looking around. I bet she was probably in her head. She was like, well, what am I gonna do now? Pulls some things out of the rubble. She was able to salvage some things that I guess the careers were too flustered to really pay attention to. Then something spooks her a little bit and she takes off running. Katniss is like, well, that's enough for me, so I'm gonna get out of here. So she spends the whole day. She gathers up some things for them to eat. She spears some fish. She's getting food ready. She's looking around like, all right, anytime, Rue. She sends out her signal. Goes up in a tree, she sits there for a bit, waits for her, she's not coming back, she starts looking for her, finds the last fire that was supposed to be lit is not. She can hear the mockingjays singing Rue's song, and then she can start hearing Rue screaming for Katniss. Why, what's happening? Finds her laying in a net that was set, a snare, if you will, and as soon as she reaches her hand out, a spear goes through Rue. Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? Easily one of the saddest deaths. This might be the saddest death in the whole series, maybe. And even when I was rereading the book, I got a little misty-eyed. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. So Katniss shoots an arrow into the neck of the boy who threw the spear, and that would be Marvel. So Marvel is dead. That's number 10. That was Katniss's first official kill. Like, I guess she killed Glimmer and the girl from 4. She killed them with the tracker jackers, but this was the first one that she intentionally was like, okay, I'm shooting my arrow and it's gonna kill you right now. Katniss gets Rue out of the net and she holds her close. Remember, Katniss was saying that Rue is so small. She's the youngest one. She's the same age as Prim. She sees Prim in Rue. And so to her, this is almost like watching Prim die in a way. This could have been Prim had I not taken her spot. Like, at least here I can not let Rue die by herself. She could easily just get up and walk away and run away from it. This is a scary thing. You need to have somebody here with you. Katniss is holding Rue and she doesn't lie to her. I'm not going to tell you you're not going to die because you got a whole spear coming out of your chest right now. Katniss tells her she blew up the food. Don't you worry, bestie. Rest easy. And then Rue is telling her that she has to be the one to win. And then she asks her if she can sing. She says she liked music when her father was alive, but when he died, she only sang for Prim if she was sick. She begins singing a lullaby that they learned in school about hope that tomorrow will be much better than the present. I don't even know if this really has a name. It's like the Meadow Song or something. So I'm gonna read it for you. Try not to get emotional. Deep in the meadow, under the willow, a bed of grass, a soft green pillow. Lay down your head and close your sleepy eyes, and when they open, the sun will rise. Here it's safe, here it's warm, here the daisies guard you from every harm. Here your dreams are sweet and tomorrow brings them true. Here is the place where I love you. Deep in the meadow, hidden far away, a cloak of leaves, a moonbeam ray. Forget your woes and let your trouble lay, and when again it's morning, they'll wash away. Here it's safe, here it's warm, here the daisies guard you from every harm. Here your dreams are sweet and tomorrow brings them true. Here is the place where I love you. And then Rue's cannon fires and she is dead. Katniss, she's going through it. She's having a moment again. She feels like she let Rue down. But honestly, if you like what she said earlier, one of us is going to get out of here. So it was gonna happen to either one of them. Just rotten luck. She's promised both Rue and Prim that she was gonna win. She starts to realize the situation with Marvel. Says, I don't feel hate towards Marvel at all. He wasn't the one that made the Hunger Games. Yeah, he takes pride in this, but he's just doing what we all gotta do. She says, I don't have any hate towards him, but my hate lies with the Capitol for putting us all in here. Peeta was saying about changing him as a person is now starting to click. The hovercraft won't come if another tribute is hanging around next to the body. Before that happens, she goes and she picks some wildflowers. She dresses up her body. She leaves the spear in her because she says once the body is taken out, any weapons that were like on their person or in their person, they'll be taken out of the arena as well. So she's like, if we can get the spear out of here, fine by me. I don't want that thing in here anyway. Wildflowers around her. A way to show the people in the Capitol the reality. These are children killing children. I wrote this as my synopsis. Rue wasn't a robot or disposable. She was the oldest of 6 and someone who loved to sing. All the tributes have layers to them who make them who they are. As she's walking away, she raises 3 fingers. They kiss their fingers and hold them up like that. It's a sign of respect. It's actually kind of looked down upon in the Capitol. Spawned from the rebellion, so it's not really, they don't appreciate that. She walks away, not turning back, and hears the hovercraft collect her body. Aww. So the Mockingjays begin to sing Rue's song. That was their signal to let each other know that they were okay, and now the Mockingjays are singing the song to let Katniss know her body's okay, and it's out of the arena now. It's just, oh my god, this is overwhelming. A silver parachute comes down, and she's like, really, Haymitch, right now, it's not from Haymitch. It's not from her sponsors. It's from District 11. This does not really happen, if ever. Other districts do not usually send gifts to other tributes. When she opens up the gift, it's a piece of bread. That crescent-shaped bread that Peeta was talking about in the training center. Katniss knows it's from District 11 because it's got the seeds on it. She says something like, probably took a lot of money for everybody to pitch in, and they had intended to send it to Rue, but obviously that's not going to happen now, so they went and sent it to Katniss. So she turns around and she just says, thank you to the people of District 11. She climbs up in a tree, watches the anthem play, Marvel, his picture shows up, Rue's picture shows up, and those are the only deaths for the day. We've only got 6 people left. She rearranges supplies from all 3 of their bags. Marvel had some dried up fruit on him. She's like, why would you have food on you saved in your bag unless you were trying to make a getaway at some point and you needed to have something to hold you over? Marvel would have fully ready to sabotage and backstab when the going gets tough against the careers, because they had the whole pyramid of food. You had all the food there with you guys, but once you guys cleared all of us out, and then what? Now you got to turn on each other. So he was going to be ready to dip whenever the time came. She's like, well, that says a lot about you, and goes to sleep again. There's a lot of like walking, I'm sleeping. I think the span of the games actually goes on. She says it at the end. I think we were in the arena for about 2 weeks. I slept and I woke up and then I went and walked around for the day. I didn't do much. And then I found another tree and I slept again. I was woken up by the sound of trumpets. Announcements don't get made very often in the games, and if they do, it's towards the end. And most of the time, they're announcing that they're having a feast at the cornucopia to draw people in for another bloodbath because it might be getting a little stale. Things are moving slower. This announcement is not for a feast. This announcement is to let the remaining tributes know that if there are any tributes from the same district, they can go home together. So Peeta and Katniss could both walk out of here, the victors. Oh my god! Katniss and Peeta and Cato and Clove. Those are the only 2 teams left. All right, now we're getting into part 3. This one is called The Victor. She's seeing that the lover boy angle that Peeta had constructed is working out in their favor after all, because the people at home probably have been watching. They want to see them back together again. She's like, oh, thank God. Thank God we did that. Like I said, this also means it could be Cato and Clove going home, or fucking Thresh and Foxface could just wipe them both out. She says that Foxface doesn't seem like she poses much of a threat as in killing, but she's very quick, very smart. Do not underestimate her. She can wait you out. She's got her tricks. Thresh would be a threat. And Katniss kind of figures that the noise that Foxface heard after the explosion, remember when she like runs in there, kind of looks around and laughs a little bit. She's like, ha! And then she gets spooked and runs away. Katniss is like, I believe the noise that spooked her was probably made by Thresh on the opposite sides of the woods. I haven't even seen a sliver of where Thresh could possibly be at. Katniss is starting to wonder where the hell Peeta could be at, because she hasn't seen him since the Tracker Jacker incident. And then she's saying if Cato is right and he's as hurt as he was saying that he is, then he's not able to move around that much, so he's probably staying put in one spot. He's got to be close by to some water source. So let's start there. So she goes to the stream where her and Rue were at, where they had started their fires. She gets to a point where she has never been before, so she kind of starts panicking quite a bit. Because she's got the stream next to her, it's a little bit louder, so she's like, Peeta. I would love it if she started calling him like that. And this is where you get, a lot of people think it's very funny how Peeta looks in this situation, but he's laying on the ground. She just hears a voice and it says, you here to finish me off, sweetheart? And she's like, the f was that? Looks down. Peeta has camouflaged himself and painted his face to look like the rocks of the stream. It's kind of funny in the movie. The part that gets me is when he just goes, hi. Hi. He jokes about how decorating the cakes at the factory, oh my god, at the bakery has finally started to pay off. He gets him out of his little hiding spot and pulls him into the stream so that she can clean him off, and she sees how bad his wounds are. They're pretty bad. He's got Tracker Jacker stings still all over him. His leg is... it's disgusting. She describes it pretty in depth. It's stabbed down to the bone. It's infected. It's just gross. You could probably smell it. Ew. And then he kind of whispers, remember, we're still supposed to be in love here. And that if she wanted to give him a kiss, that would be totally fine. Treats the Tracker Jacker venom like how Rue taught her how to do. She gets Marvel's first aid kit that he had in his bag. Started to get a fever, and now it's time to tackle the leg. bleh. It is so infected. It's swelling up. It's just ew. She uses some of the leaves that she used on the tracker jacker venom, and it's pulling out some of the mess, but it's not enough. Keeps talking about, like, I don't even like being around people when they've got a slight cough. This is way out of my element right here. Back home, if somebody comes by being sick, she normally just takes off and runs to the woods. Peeta jokes with her, for someone as lethal as her, she's very squeamish. She's able to get the swelling down. She wraps it up in a bandage, find a little cave. Peeta starts to talk about, if I'm not able to make it, most likely not, it's not looking good for me. I want you to do something for me. But she's like, nope, shut up. I don't want to even hear it. And then he keeps going. And then all of a sudden she's like, I mean, what do I do? Shit. Oh. She gives him a kiss. Oh my god, the kiss. He gives him a kiss to shut him up. No, Peeta would probably got a fucking boner if he didn't have so much blood coming out of his leg. All that blood would go somewhere else. A silver parachute comes down. Just soup broth by Heyman. She's like, I just really need to ramp it up with this romance thing, because if I give him romance, I get gifts. Katniss says it takes a lot of coercing, a lot of kissing to get Peeta to go ahead and drink some of the broth. His fever is ramping up and he's not feeling well at all, so he's like, I have no appetite. So he eats it, he goes to sleep. She stands guard watching at the edge of the cave, and she can tell that the game makers are really fluctuating the temperatures right now from sweltering hot to absolutely freezing throughout the day. She starts to get kind of sleepy, so she goes to get in the sleeping bag with Peeta, and remember, she's got that reflect your body heat. Well, she gets in there and she's like, it is roasting in here. His fever is spiking up. It's a cool rag trying to bring down the fever. She tells him, all right, I'm just gonna sleep for a little bit, just wake me up in a couple hours. But he lets her sleep for the whole day. She wakes up and she's like, what the the whole day's gone. He says, oh, you look so nice while you were sleeping. I couldn't wake you. You can tell that the sweat on his brow, his fever has been broken just a little bit, just for the time being. She says everything else on his body, like his wounds for the most part, are looking good, except for his leg. It has gotten so much worse. Just swelling 10 times more. It's oozing. He's got a blood infection. It could spread to his lungs, his brain, kill him in a couple of days. This is just the pits, man. This sucks. Right now, we could really can use some medicine from one of our lovely sponsors out there. She doesn't say that out loud, but the longer the games go on and the closer they are to having a victor. Sorry, this is not centered. Closer that they come to the end of the games, the more expensive the gifts get. Something like a cracker would cost as much as a whole feast as the end gets closer, is what I put. Even if the games had just started, or even if they were just back at home, the medicine that he needs, way too expensive. She goes out and gets some berries and some roots, trying to make some kind of stew or something. She's just making shit up. When you were a kid and you went out to the backyard and you're like, I don't know what the this is. It's just something sweet for the fucking kids.
I don't know what the this is, okay? It's just something sweet for the kids, okay? Damn, you gotta stay with me now.
She gets rocks from the stream, and it's so hot outside that they start to kind of boil and simmer the water. She goes back inside while the stew is simmering out there. Stew?
It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Why on earth are you making chocolate pudding?
Because I hate my life. She goes back inside and sits with Peeta, and they talk for a little bit. He asks her what is her happiest day that she can remember. Sits there for a minute and she's like, honestly, I don't know. Can I tell you about the time when I got Prim's goat for her? To us, to the reader. She's like, I can't explain the entire story and how it really happened because that runs the risk of everybody back home getting in trouble. You know, her going out into the woods and trading and stuff. To finesse the story a little bit, makes up the story that she sold a silver necklace from her mother. What if her mom was at home and she was just like, what the This didn't really happen. She's just saying that for the camera. She sold a silver necklace of her mother's to get money to buy something for Prim's birthday. The real story is that her and Gale had found a buck deer. She says that they had only ever found maybe 3 in all of their years of hunting. And the first one, they shot it, but it was halfway dead anyway. So she was like, I don't know if that one really counted. When they brought that first one into the hob, people were just clawing at it. Give me some! So anyway, she learned her lesson. Saw a buck and they shot it and killed it, and they were bringing it back in discreetly this time. They took it to the butcher. Her name was Ruba. She's never mentioned in the movies, and I think she's only mentioned in this story. Katniss and Gale split the money between them, and they walked past this guy's house. He just called him the Goat Man because he had a bunch of goats, and he had one goat that was kind of lame and not looking all that great and was going to be sold to Ruba. The Goat Man was had an attitude. He was like, get away from them goats. She's like, well, I might buy one. Ruba comes by. She's like, is this one still for sale? It's like, well, you might have some competition. This little girlie right here, being Katniss, Ruba, she's like, badly hurt. What am I gonna do with this? That meat's probably already bad. You can take it, girl. Prim and her mother nursed it back to health. So that was like her happiest day that she can think of. And then, back to reality. We hear trumpets. They don't sound like that. But they're announcing the feast that I was talking to you about. It's Claudius Templesmith announcing there's going to be a feast at the Cornucopia tomorrow. There's something that each and every one of you need. There's a little gift waiting for you guys there at the Cornucopia. Good luck. He tells them to think hard about refusing to show up because for some, this may be their last chance of survival. Katniss knows it's got to be the medicine. This is coming from the Capitol. It's not even coming from Haymitch or any of their sponsors. This is coming straight from like the game makers. They're only doing it in order to cause a bloodbath. Peeta is like, you're not going down there. And she's like, well, yeah, I'm going. I got to get you your medicine so you can fucking walk. And he says, well, I'll follow you and I'm going to make so much noise. I'm going to scream and hoot and holler. They'll find you and they'll kill both of us. So how about that? Peeta, you fucking nerd. I don't know, I'd bop him up on the side of the head and be like, go to sleep. He says, fine, I'm not gonna go, but you have to do exactly what I tell you to do. When I tell you to sleep, you sleep. And when I tell you to wake me up, you wake me up at the time I tell you to. You're gonna drink all this soup that I'm gonna make. You're gonna take the fever pills, whatever. You take this Tylenol. When she goes out there to get their little stew that she's made, a parachute comes down. This one is from Haymitch. Vial of sleeping medicine. Sleeping syrup that they would give children in District 12. Katniss says sometimes her mother had to use it on patients that were hysteric. And she says it doesn't take much to put anyone to sleep. If she gives Peeta the whole vial, you might put him into a coma, girl. You might want to think about that. She mixes it up with the berry soup. She goes in there and starts feeding it to Peeta. He keeps saying, tastes sweet. Every bite he's like, I get we gotta make do with what we got, but this just tastes really weird. I've had something this sweet before. I can't think of what it is. It's sweet like a syrup. And then he realizes to force the last little spoonful down his throat. He is conked out for the count. She leaves some supplies for Peeta, a couple pieces of food like her crackers, and I don't know what the she's got left. Debates on whether or not to leave some kind of weapon for Peeta just in case, but then she's like, well, no. God forbid if I don't make it back, then he's gonna die anyway, so it wouldn't do any good. Now she's just waiting until morning. She's waiting, she starts thinking about back home, if her mom and Prim are gonna be watching. Are they watching the games at all? She's like, I wonder if they'll go watch it in the square or watch it where there's a big group of people, that way they can have, that can support them, or do they want to have a moment of privacy and just watch this on their own? She thinks about Gale. He's watching in silence is what she says, but he went on his little rants while they were out hunting about the Capitol. What if everybody just stopped watching? We stopped participating. They don't have a game. They don't have a show. I mean, if we all got together and just put our foot down and just stopped watching, then what? And Katniss is like, yeah, okay. Replaying those moments in her mind. And I kind of wish I would have listened to him, but also we're one person. We need the entire nation to move as one. Thinking about Gale more romantically while she's away, creeping in her mind like, I wonder if I open the door wanting more out of our relationship, would he be down for that? You want to be my boyfriend? Check yes or no. And then would he be happy if Peeta came back as well? How would he feel if both of them showed up? And what's going on with the love story? Like I said earlier, she has little flickers of like, are you really in love with me? But for the majority, this first book, no, Peeta's just playing it for the cameras. This is what we agreed to do. He said he would do the lover boy act, and so I'm just going along with it. This is how we can get people roped along in our story. So it's just an act. He's very convincing and he's very good at it. Because he really does love her. He really does love her. This isn't an act. Fully convinced that Peeta is thinking it's a show. It's time to go to the cornucopia and to go to the feast. He gives Peeta one last smooch on the forehead. Gives him a kiss knowing that the cameras would be watching. I would love to know how they installed cameras. They must have a 360 camera everywhere. Cameras just embedded into the walls, into the rocks, into trees. They got a camera everywhere in a little cave. They thought about everything. I wonder if they could just, from the game maker's office, if they could just type in, okay, we need a camera put in right here, right now. And it just magically pops up. They're like, we forgot about this one spot. She's back at the same spot she was in where she blew up the food. Also, by the way, she's still deaf in her left ear. The ringing has gone down in the right ear so she can hear slightly, but she's back in the tree line. Table rises up in front of the cornucopia. 4 bags on it. There are 2 large bags for districts 2 and 11, a medium-sized green bag for district 5, and a tiny orange bag for district 12. And Foxface comes running out from the inside of the cornucopia, snatches up her bag, and she runs off into the woods. I don't remember if it's ever explained what is in her bag. I think I've looked it up before and I don't think there was ever any explanation. And then Katniss also makes a note that she didn't, Foxface didn't even attempt to take anybody else's bag. She didn't want to have anybody coming after her. I just need my shit and I'm going. Katniss, she makes a run for it. She is stopped by Clove from District 2. I forgot. Clove has got some knives that she's wielding. Ching, ching, ching. At one point, she throws one of the knives that hits Katniss, gashes her forehead right here above her eye. Blood is pouring into her eyes. She can barely see. She's getting mouths full of blood. It's bad. This isn't good. Katniss, she shot an arrow at her, but it only hit her in the arm and kind of sliced up her arm. And then when she's got her pinned down on the ground, Clove is like, how's Peeta doing? Since he got stabbed in the leg by the sword. Katniss lies and says, oh, he's fine. He's actually in the woods right now. He's covering me. Katniss starts screaming his name, and Clove looks up and looks around and sees that he's not coming. He's not there. He's asleep. Clove is like, so you lied to me. You big fat liar. She pulls out a little tiny knife and is holding it up to her throat. She tells Katniss that Peeta wanted to make a big spectacle out of her death. She says that she's going to kill her like they did with her ally Rue. Watch what you say, Clove. Well, just then and there, Thresh comes out of the woodworks. He yeets her off of Katniss, slams her body down, and he's like, what did you just say? What did you say about Rue? You killed her? Starts panicking. She's like, oh my god, fucking Kato, come here. Well, it's no good. Thresh kills Clove, and she is died. Also, I should mention Kato was yelling for Clove, and he was running out of the woods to try and come and help her, but it happened way too quick and he didn't make it out there. And then Katniss is looking at Thresh like, oh, I didn't do it. Is that true what she said? Were you guys allies? She said, yeah. Your district sent me some bread as a thank you. And so he's like, okay, fine. I'm gonna let you go this one time. That's it. If I see you again, I'm killing you. Yeah, okay, heard. He takes his bag. He ended up taking Clove and Kato's bag. Katniss turns around at the last second and she's like, I saw all the bags were gone off the table. So I think maybe Thresh took Clove and Kato's bag. Well, I got mine, so I don't care. She gets back to the cave. She gets the syringe of the medicine that they got, puts it in his leg, and then her wound on her forehead won't stop bleeding and she loses a lot of blood, so then she ends up passing out. She's having a dream about being back at home when she was homesick and her mom is in there checking on her, and she says she feels her mom like caressing her cheek. Normally she would like push her away. In that dream she doesn't fight it, and she actually really do miss feeling my mom's touch. She makes a point to say, even though I still don't trust her completely. He's woken up by Peeta. His leg looks 10 times better. It's still not 100%. He's still limping around, but the swelling has gone from his leg. He tells her that she's lost a lot of blood from her head and that she's been sleeping all day. She didn't miss anything. Nobody else has died yet. She says that he doesn't seem all that angry that she went out and got the medicine for him. And then she explains what happened with Thresh, and then she of course goes into talking about what happened with Rue, being an ally, dressed her up when she had died. And then she asks what is on the far side of the arena that she's never been to. Katniss hasn't even been past the lake yet. What's on the far side of it? I think that's where Thresh is going. It's very, very tall grass, like as tall as a human. It's filled with I don't even know what, and I don't think anybody else really even ventured in there to find out. I guess Thresh had to learn the hard way. I don't know. I would love to get a perspective of him, like what happened in the grass. We don't ever really know. Katniss says, well, District 11, agriculture, so he probably knew the grass, like what was safe and what was not safe, but that still doesn't mean, I don't know, there could be things hiding it. There could be a scarecrow. Oh my gosh, that'd be scary. Probably been staying alive from eating the grain that's over there. Peeta is asking, why did Thresh spare you for making an alliance with Rue? Like, what's the big deal? And Katniss is like, you wouldn't understand, town boy. No, she doesn't say it like that, but she's like, you just wouldn't get it. It's the same mentality as us seam kids, because he comes from more of the money side of District 12 and they don't have to barter with everybody. And then she says, it's a similar situation with the bread. You remember the bread you threw out to me? And he's like, I wasn't asking for anything in return. I was just doing that because you were about to die. She thinks it's a debt to be repaid, and she says that the first gift is always the hardest gift to repay, and also you saved my life, so that's just another. So then she asks him, why did you even give me the bread anyway that day? Kind of chuckles to himself. He's like, Haymitch said that this would be hard to convince you. And she's like, what? But he doesn't say any more than that. Talking about convincing her that he is actually in love with her. But again, she's only seeing it as they're playing the game. Whoa, sorry. Wow, my ADHD. I was looking at the viewfinder. This is so lopsided. I don't have anything else to add over here. I'm sorry. Anyway, sorry, I'm back. Don't worry. Peeta goes on to say, well, maybe Theto. I was going to say Theto. Thresh and Kato can just duke it out for themselves and kill each other. Just be them two, and Foxface. Katniss says, I don't want anybody else to die. I really don't. I just want to be home. I don't want to be here anymore. Peeta convinces her to go to sleep and to dream of homes. When they're in the cave, there's a lot of just sleeping. So I think altogether they're in the cave for probably about 4 days. There's just a lot of sleeping. She wakes up. It's pouring down rain. They can't go out and really look for anything to eat. So they just hang out in the cave. Katniss is like in her head, I know if I play into this love story game, then that means more gifts for us. Let's go ahead and ramp it up, boys. She asked Peeta when he knew that he had a crush on her. And he's like, well, let me think. It was the first day of school. Aww. 5 years old on the first day of school, and his father, the baker, one that came to see Katniss, was walking him to school. He said, "Do you see that girl over there? I was in love with her mother, but she left town to go marry a coal miner." What? Are you actually fucking kidding? Oh God. He had asked his dad why she would marry a coal miner, and he said, well, when he sang, all the birds and everything would stop to listen. That's why Peeta's dad came by to see her, and also because he said that he would take care of Prim and make sure she wasn't gonna starve. Prim is like spitting image of their mother. I wonder if the roles were reversed. I'm sure he would have. Katniss actually favors her father, and I wonder if he would have done the same thing. I don't know. He might have been like, I'm here if you need me, but you've got it figured out. You can hunt on your own. Peeta goes on to say, when we were in class, the teacher said, does anybody know how to sing the Valley song? Her hand shot straight up in the air. She stood up on a stool and she sang, and I could swear that all the birds outside stopped to listen to you. It was just like your father. Isn't that sweet? In her head, when he says that, she's like, my dad did sing and the birds did stop to listen. Yeah, everything is lining up. How do you remember all that? Okay, Anyway, for the next 11 years, he had tried to work up any kind of courage to be able to talk to her or get near her. He says, in a way, his name being drawn for the reaping has been a blessing. He's been able to spend time with her, even if it's in the worst possible situation you can think of. He liked her because she was the one that was not paying attention. She tells him, well, you don't have to worry about me not paying attention to you now. And he says, well, yeah, I don't really have a lot of competition out here. She says, well, there's no competition anywhere, and gives him a kiss. And then a parachute comes by with a full bounty. It's their favorite meal that they had in the Capitol. It's like some pea soup or something like that. Or orange chicken. It wasn't orange chicken, but it was like, what the f was it? It doesn't matter. It was like a big giant banquet straight from the Capitol full of food. Okay, we need to eat slow. If we eat everything all at once, we're gonna throw up. It'll be a waste. So let's just eat slow and let it settle in our stomachs. Give it some time to digest. And if we can keep it down, then we'll go back for more. While they're waiting, after they've eaten, Katniss brings up Haymitch and says that he hates her. And Peeta is like, well, yeah, he kind of hates you, but he really hates me. Well, when he's sober, he doesn't hate you. And she's like, let's just not think about it. Both of us are going to be back home in 12 soon, so let's just think about that. So Katniss starts thinking about how Peeta's parents might not, especially his mother, might not appreciate the fact that he'll be with the girl from the scene. I don't think that your parents will really appreciate that. She's like, oh, well, I guess we'll both be in the better part of town, because if you win the Hunger Games, there's a section of housing set aside in each district called the Victor's Village. In District 12, there's only one person that lives there, and that is Haymitch. 12 houses set out that are fully furnished. They're so much more glamorous than anything that they have in District 12, a gated community. Then they start asking about how Haymitch, how he could have possibly have won his games. Like I said, Haymitch was in probably the worst games. He had to fight double the amount of people. What is that, 48? So he had to get through 47 people to win his games. Katniss was kind of clocking him. She was like, he's not really the most attractive person, at least now. And how dare you talk about Woody Harrelson like that? I think he was like 15 or 16. He maybe looked a little bit more attractive then, but years of wear and tear and alcohol and all kinds of other vices. He looks a little bit more haggard. He didn't have anything to do with his looks, and he doesn't appear to be the strongest person around either. That he probably won by outsmarting everybody else. Once you realize it's a game, it's not just the situation itself of putting all these kids in an arena and killing. There's so many bells and whistles to this. And this is what I was talking about earlier when they first are talking about how Haymitch is the mentor. Katniss is now realizing every year they bring him out, they have to talk about his games a little bit, and then he's got to mentor two kids from one of the worst districts, frailest district, basically butter them up, put them in a flashy outfit, get to know them slightly. I don't think he really gets buddy-buddy with them, and then watch him die. Only he and one other person has ever won from District 12. If we win, I gotta do that. I have to be a mentor. Think about how lonely Haymitch is because he doesn't have a wife, no kids, doesn't really talk to anybody else in 12. He doesn't appear to have many friends. Talking about how she doesn't want to end up like him, but also she doesn't want to bring a child into this world, the world of the Hunger Games. No way to excuse her child from getting reaped into the games. People, I've got 4 pages left, like 3.5 pages left. We're right here, bestie, come on, I can do it. I'm really telling myself that. Getting so tired. They take a nap, they sleep, whatever. They wake up and the anthem starts playing. Peeta's watching it and she's like, come on, nobody died today. We didn't hear anything. And he goes, Katniss, Thresh is dead. Thresh is dead. Remember I told you it was pouring rain, thunder was rolling? Well, His cannon must have fired while the thunder was going. We didn't even hear it. We don't know how yet. We don't know how. Katniss is trying to put on a brave face because she knows cameras are in there watching. She's really rocked by this death. I mean, obviously, Rue's death affected her, and also Marvel's too. But something about Thresh's death, because remember she said, if I had to bet on anybody, I was betting on Thresh to win the entire thing. He spared her life. I don't know, this one really kind of rocked her a little bit. They pack up all their things and they go out to go hunting. Katniss says that they need to be on high alert because if it was down to Thresh and Cato for Thresh's death, which is the most likely scenario because I don't imagine Foxface would be fighting anybody really. Theto, what the f is wrong with me? Thresh would not have gone out without a fight and gotten a couple licks in. So Cato is most likely probably hurt in some capacity. Peeta, his leg is so much better, but it's not 100%. He is very much loud while hunting. He is breaking every single fucking branch. He's stepping on every crunchy leaf. Katniss, there's like a whole page where she's like, I was getting really fucking annoyed with Peeta at this point. Well, anyway, they keep going and it's just not working. Peeta offers to go and do some gathering, and then Katniss teaches him about the Mockingjay single, the new hit single from the Mockingjay, to signal back to her that he's okay. She hunts for a little bit. She's able to get some squirrels and some rabbits. She sends out her little but does not hear from Peeta. Starts panicking, and she finds a spot with the plastic sheet that she's got. Actually, I haven't mentioned it much, but the plastic sheet has come in quite handy, if I'm being honest with you. When she was coming off her platform, she was like, this rinky-dink little piece of plastic, but throughout the book, it's actually pretty handy for her. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Plastic laid out with all of their food and some berries piled up that Peeta has collected. She runs into him, and she yells at him for not signaling back, and he's like, I'm sorry, I was down by the water, I couldn't hear anything. If we have a signal set, you need to be within the vicinity where I can hear the signal, and blah, 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 blah. She's a little overstimulated right now. She's on edge. She sees that some of the cheese is gone, crackers, the bread has been nibbled on, and she's like, and you fucking ate without me. He's like, I didn't touch anything, I just laid it out, I haven't eaten anything yet, but look, I got some berries, do you want some? And she's looking at them and she's like, they look familiar, but I don't think these are right. She has a flashback of her father saying, don't eat those berries. They're nightlock berries, they're very poisonous, you'll be dead before they even hit your stomach. So she smacks them out of his hand and she's like, just in that moment they hear the cannon go off, and you think, oh, did Peeta eat one? Foxface is dead. They see Foxface laying down, and Peeta's like, what happened? Cato must be around. Get your shit. We need to leave. Katniss is like, that wasn't Cato. You killed her. She shows him the berries. Miss Foxface, clever as she may be, she was following them, and she figured, well, if these berries are good enough for Peeta to be scooping them up, they must be good for me. I'm going to take a little bit of this cheese, a little bit of these crackers, berries. I'm going to have a charcuterie board. Yeah, but it killed her. It done killed her. She was too smart for her own good. Now we only have 3 more people left in this Hunger Games. She says, well, maybe we should keep some of these berries because maybe we can have the same thing happen to Cato. If we're getting chased away by him, drop the berries somewhere, climb up a tree, he might eat them, and then that'll be that. Long story long. They save the berries. They cook the meat that Katniss had killed, and they don't even care if the fire's gonna signal Cato. They're like, fine, come find us, we don't care. In fact, they almost welcome it. It's just them. They're like, let's just hurry up and end it. They end up going back to the cave because Peeta, his leg, he's not a climber just in general. Can't climb as high as Katniss can. So he's like, let's just go back to the cave. They sleep through the night. When she wakes up, she has that feeling in her stomach. She has a feeling it's gonna end today. This is our last day. This is it. And she's right. Well, kind of right. It's like a day and a half, whatever. Take one last glance over the cave. Last time I'm seeing this place. I wonder how long it'll take for the game makers to pushing us towards Cato or pushing Cato towards them. It won't be long because people are gonna start getting bored. Well, we'll go ahead and speed it up before they do something to really us over with. The temperatures have been cranked up. Everything is drying up. Remember all that rain they had? It was like a full river almost. Now it's bone dry. Walk down the stream to get towards the lake and everything. And they get down there and they just wait out in the open. There's no point in hiding anymore. Katniss starts singing to some of the Mockingjays, and Peeta is like, yep, you're just like your father. Like father, like daughter. They're listening to the music from the Mockingjays. Well, then it turns to screams. Dun dun dun! The Mockingjay stop singing, and all they hear is screaming and shrieking, and then they see Cato running out of the woods in a full... Do you know Get Out when the guy's running straight towards the camera? He's like... That's what I'm picturing. Katniss shoots one of her arrows at Cato, but it bounces off, and then she's like, oh, he's wearing some kind of body shield. I wonder if that was what was in his bag. Then, that made me think, I don't know what was in Thresh's bag. I don't know if I know or not. But I think he probably took District 11's bag, whatever it was, and then took Cato and Clove's bag and took off running. And then Cato found Thresh and saw that he had the body shield, and he was like, no, fine. They started fighting, and Cato was able to kill Thresh and then take back his shield. That's what I think happened. Katniss tries to shoot an arrow at him. It bounces off his shield. Doesn't matter, because he's not running towards them. He's running to get to the cornucopia. He runs directly past them. Katniss is like, well, then she turns and she sees what he's running from. A bunch of mutts. Big wolf dog things. Yeah, it's a whole pack. In chapter 25. We got 3 more chapters, people. They chase all 3 of them. Cato makes it to the cornucopia. He's climbing up there. Katniss makes it. She's turning around. She's like, I forgot about Peeta. Peeta is hobbling along. So then Katniss turns around and starts shooting arrows at the mutts. She's able to get a couple of them. She notices something off about them. They look uncanny valley, like AI imaging. One of them starts to jump up and lunge for her. She sees a collar and it has a bejeweled number 1. And then she looks at the eyes. Eyes are green and it's got like pink lips. And she's like, holy shit. All of these mutts are the past tributes that have died. It had the number 1 on its collar. That was Glimmer. Now Peeta's up on the cornucopia too, and Cato's asking if they're able to climb. Katniss is like, no, I don't think they can. They have very powerful hind legs that give them some height. They got the hops. One bites onto Katniss, and Peeta's able to stab it. They recognize that one was Foxface. Sees one. The smallest one that they have is Little Rue. Thresh is the biggest one. One of them takes a bite out of Peeta's leg. He's like, God damn it. Leave my leg alone. It's been through enough. Katniss is able to get Peeta back to his feet. Just then, Cato pulls Peeta into one of those headlocks, and Katniss is pointing her arrow at him. But she's like, he's got the bodysuit on. I can't hit him. From the neck to the ankles is covered. Peeta is losing air rapidly. Cato is taunting her, and if you shoot me, because she's like, I could hit him in the head and kill him that way too. If you kill me, I'm pulling him down with me. Kill me and we both die. Peeta takes blood, draws an X on the back of Cato's arm or his hand or whatever. Like everything clicks at the very last second. Katniss shoots him. He lets Peeta go, and he falls off over into the mutts. Now he does not die. Nuh-uh. He is getting torn to shreds though. His body armor is protecting him somewhat, but not very much. Treated like a fucking chew toy. Still has a knife on him, so he starts killing a couple of the mutts. The rest of them drag him around into the cornucopia. This goes on for hours. Peeta and Katniss, they sit down. Katniss ties a tourniquet around Peeta's leg. It's nighttime, just laying there listening to Cato, because they're like, surely he's got to die at some time, right? And then they fall asleep, they wake up. This goes on at least 6 or 7 hours. Katniss has figured out game makers have made it so the tribute has to kill a tribute. It's not going to be the mutts that kill him. Peeta or Katniss has to kill Cato, or vice versa. Cato has to kill one of them too. So by morning, Peeta, he's losing a lot of blood. Katniss is like, all right, I gotta do it. So she goes to the mouth of the cornucopia. She pulls back the bow, pulls back the arrow on the bow, and she says she could see or hear Cato kind of pleading, please f***ing kill me. She does it. And Cato is dead. And now it's Peeta and Katniss, who should be the winners, correct? They hear Cato's cannon fire, and they're like, okay. All right, we're done. We did it. Maybe we need to move out of the way for the hovercraft to come on. Come on, Peeta, let's get out of the way. The hovercraft comes and gets him. Okay, where is everybody? We're ready to go home. Claudius Templesmith, he comes onto the speaker and he says, so yeah, about that, this isn't how he really says it, but he's like, yeah, that rule we made, we take it back. So there can only be one winner. Good luck. Bye. Are you kidding me? Actually kidding me? Oh my gourd. Now they're back to square one. They have strung along all of the capital. Every citizen of Pan Am. It's up to them to decide who's gonna die. Peeta pulls out a knife, and so Katniss points her arrow at him because she's like, what the boy? And he's like, oh, I was just throwing it away. All right, go ahead and do it. I want you to go home. If you love me, cameras, do this for me. She keeps saying no, I'm not doing that. He unties his tourniquet on his leg, so then the blood is really flowing now. Little pouch of berries that they had taken. And he's like, no, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Trust me, I have an idea. Well, what if we both take them at the same time? What if they don't get a victor at all? It's very Romeo and Juliet. So they divvy up the berries. They turn their backs to each other and they count to 3. At least Katniss does. Puts it to her lips. Claudius Templesmith is like, stop, please. Wait, no. Hang on. Wait, we're just kidding. You guys won. You're the winner of the 74th annual Hunger Games. Fuck. But see, this is what I mean, okay? I was not a Peeta girl because shit like doing that. Gaslighting, I get it, you're in a situation, whatever. You live. I'm gonna kill myself. If you really loved her, do you think she's actually gonna be able to go back home and just be able to exist? Peeta is touch and go for me. Sometimes I really like him, sometimes I really don't. A hovercraft comes by, and Katniss is like, y'all are leaving with both of us, you ain't gonna leave just one. So she hooks her arm around Peeta, and the hovercraft, when you touch it, not electrifies, but it freezes your muscles, so like they can't move until they get up into the hovercraft. Peeta passes out. The doctors immediately start to work on Peeta. Katniss, in her mind, she's not completely 100% all there. Get away from him. Just get off. She keeps thinking we're still in the arena. For some reason, it's not over yet. Something else is going on. These are months. Get her out of the room, screaming and crying and watching Peeta. And she says that I think he died like 3 times. His heart stopped. She catches her reflection and she's like, I look feral and wild and mangled. I look haggard to death. When people would bring in their loved ones to her family's house to have her mother help with some kind of medical emergency, Katniss was always like, why do they want to sit there and watch all that? Why would they want to stay? If it were me, I would leave. But now that she's in that situation watching Peeta, I don't want to be anywhere else but here. I need to make sure that he's going to be okay, and I need to keep my eyes on him. Well, that doesn't last for long because somebody comes up behind her and puts a syringe in her and sedates her. Wakes up, she's strapped to a bed, wires coming out of her arms, sees the Avox girl, and she just says, is Peeta okay? Did he live? And she nods. They bring her bland food and they fill her body up with another sedative. She says it's a constant. I pass out. I wake up. My scars are a little bit better. I eat something. I pass out again. And this goes on for like 2 or 3 days. At some point, I could swear I could hear yelling and screaming or arguing with the staff there, but I couldn't really tell what was going on. She wakes up and she's not strapped to the bed, goes out to the hall. One of these rooms has to have Peeta in it, I'm assuming. She gets to the end of the hall. She sees Cinna, Portia, Effie, Haymitch, and of all people, she goes to Haymitch and gives him a hug. He tells her, nice job, sweetheart. Peeta's fine, but they want to keep them separated for the show. They go back for their interviews. They want their first meeting since the games to be televised. They're going upstairs to get her ready for the interviews. She sees the prep team again, and she's like, honestly, the prep team just talked about how the games affected them, and they were saying, I was just getting out of the shower when you did this in the game, and it's me. She just went through the most traumatic thing any person could probably ever go through, and they're talking about how it affected them. But truthfully, I actually didn't mind because they could keep talking amongst themselves and I didn't have to say anything. Weirdly enough, was kind of comforting. Cinna brings in a yellow dress. Katniss is very confused. I mean, yeah, it's pretty, thanks, but I had 2 dresses that were unbelievable and they caught on fire, and now I get this little prairie looking dress. It's fine, but giving her more padding in certain areas. And he says that Haymitch actually was arguing, that's who she was hearing in the room, with the doctors because they wanted to give her like a breast implant. Her body has just gotten so weak and frail. She was already small, but now she's even way smaller. The dress fills out in areas that they wanted it filled out in. And she says something about, it made me look like I was a young little girl. It wasn't like I was a statuesque woman. I just looked like a little girl. Probably there's a reason behind this. Cinna doesn't do anything haphazardly. There's a reason why he made it look that way. Keep with the theme of being the girl on fire, only looks like a candle flame compared to the other 2 dresses. Because he's like, don't you like it? He's like, oh, I just was expecting something different. Cinna says, well, I thought Peeta would like this a lot better. And just the way he says it, the way he delivers it, she's like, what do you mean? She can't ask that because it's still, they're being recorded. Don't think I mentioned, but even in their rooms and their stylist rooms, they're being watched by the game makers. People are recording their conversations. They're getting ready to go out and have their interviews with Caesar Flickerman, the man that I forgot to put a picture up of. But Haymitch meets her backstage, gives her a hug. He's whispering in her ear, mouth into her hair so nobody can see it. And he's like, they're not happy with you. I would myself. You made a mockery of them. She showed up the game makers, not like in the training scoring 11 kind of way. You totally just played them and made them the laughing stock. The only way you may be able to get out of this relatively unscathed is if you play into the romance thing again. Say Barry situation was an act of just, I love Peeta and I can't imagine myself being without him. So then Katniss is like, okay, well, is Peeta up to snuff? Does he understand what we need to do? Haymitch says, well, Peeta doesn't need any convincing. He doesn't need to be told. Katniss is like, the f***? Does he mean he's got it figured out as in he knows we're in trouble, or he's really in love with me, so he doesn't need any convincing of how to act? I can't really can think about this right now because I haven't even sorted out how I feel about Peeta. I mean, what I did in the arena, was that out of love? I don't know. I just did it. I don't know. We didn't know each other back then. We didn't have any sort of relationship back in 12. But what if I do love him? He did save me. He saved me twice. I don't know. But what about Gale? At least if they wanted to hurt her in the arena, she would just be dead and that would be the end of it. But out here, she runs the risk of hurting her entire family, everybody back in 12. Oh, this was so one of the last lines in the chapter is, now she's learning how dangerous the games are really about to become. You do not stop playing the game. Just because the arena is done, this game goes on and on and on. Look at Haymitch. He's still playing into the game. We are on the last chapter, bestie. Thank you. Thank you. So everybody goes out on the stage. All the stylists, the prep team, Effie, Haymitch, Peeta, and Katniss come out. Embrace. They're hugging. They're kissing. She's like curling up onto Peeta pretty much. Crowd is eating it up. And then they gotta sit there and watch the entire games from start to finish. I mean, it's chopped up quite a bit just to the action. It's mainly focused on Katniss and Peeta. Peeta had been playing along with this romance thing for the entire time. The only reason he joined the careers was to keep them away from Katniss. When they were under the tree with Tracker Jackers, stayed and watched her all through the night, and he defended Cato. He defended Katniss against Cato. Cato and him got into a fight, okay? As Cato was trying to get after Katniss. When he was camouflaged in the mud in a delirious space, sure. He kept repeating her name. They showed Rue's death and Katniss killing Marvel. They didn't show Katniss dressing up Rue's body, flowers, and her giving her signal, because it would be a slap in the face of the Capitol. They showed the point where it was announced that both of them could possibly walk out victors, and it was like the whole thing changed for her. They found each other. They had their kiss in the cave. Anyway, they go through everything. Her getting the medicine, fight Cato, and they're about to die. Just as they're about to eat the berries, it cuts to Katniss and Peeta getting lifted up into the hovercraft, and she's screaming and crying. The doctors and the nurses taking care of his wound. It just cuts, like, that's where it ends. I would like to see how the hell they edited that. If I was a citizen, Pan Am, and I was watching it, I'd be like, continuity, come on, what happened? Then President Snow comes out. Where are you at? President Snow. Normally they have one crown because there's usually only one victor. Cracks it in half. He puts one piece on Peeta's head and he puts one on Katniss's head. And Katniss has a moment where she's looking at President Snow and she's like, I'm the instigator in this situation. I was the one that brought out the berries. I was the one that dressed up Rue's body. If anybody is going to have to take the fall for this, it would have to be me. Interviews in. They go to the president's mansion, pushed around, paraded by all of their people that sponsored them. Highbrow, down the nose kind of people. They don't really get a moment to talk alone either. She feels good when she's looking at Peeta, and then she'll turn around and see President Snow, and she's like, eh! They get back to their room, but they're separated, and Katniss is like, can I speak with this kid, please? But Haymitch says, nope, you'll have plenty of time to talk tomorrow on the way back home. So she leaves her room, goes up to the roof thinking that he might be up there. He's not, so she goes back to her room, sits down for a little bit and tries it again. When she goes to the door, her door is locked, and she's like, they're fucking watching me. Getting kind of paranoid now, which they are watching. The whole room is tapped. She's not wrong. Effie comes and gets her the next morning for their interviews, and they're doing it in their living room. She sees Peeta there, sees her, and she cuddles up with Peeta again, and she's very grateful because Peeta is taking over, answering most of these questions. Caesar brings up, well, Katniss, you asked Peeta when was the moment he knew that he loved you? When is the moment that you realized that you loved Peeta? And she's like, f*** out. She doesn't say but Caesar says, well, I know when it was for me. They announced that you both could leave here and you shouted out his name. And she's like, yep, yeah, me too. Definitely that. It was that moment for her because then she realized that she would be able to keep him. Peeta flirtatiously, what do you plan on doing with me now that you got me? I'm going to keep you somewhere where nobody else can get to you, where you can't get hurt. That kind of segues into injuries and that they got in the arena. Katniss realizes fucking Peeta has got a prosthetic leg. I was gonna say amputated leg. It's because of my tourniquet. So she gets upset. She thinks that she caused him to lose his leg. But Caesar and Peeta are just like, no, girl, you saved my life. If you didn't do that, I would have died. The berry situation is brought up again, and Caesar is asking Katniss, what was going through your mind when you brought out the berry? And she plays into it, acting on emotion. I couldn't see me going on any further without him. So they finish up their interviews, they get on the train, and they're heading back to 12. At some point, the train stops to get some fuel, and her and Peeta are walking down the platform, and even still, even though they're nowhere near the Capitol anymore, they are being watched, and they probably have some cameras hidden around. I would be paranoid too, my god. I'd be like, Peeta gathers up some wildflowers, and Katniss doesn't tell him, but they're the same wildflowers that she planted on Rue, so it kind of makes her feel really bummed out. Haymitch comes up to them saying, like, you guys are doing really good. Just keep it up. We're almost at 12. And Peeta's like, what? What are you talking about? And Katniss says, you have to keep up the act because I'm in trouble with the Capitol because of what we did. And he's like, so this is all an act? Well, yeah, it wasn't it for you? Peeta's upset because he's like, why wasn't I told about all this? That you were in trouble and that we need to keep this storyline going. Haymitch said that, and you've already got this whole thing figured out. And he's just like, it's real for Peeta. He really does love her. This isn't a fucking act for me, but sure. Thanks, Katniss. Very upset. He's like, well, how much of this was made up from when we got back from the arena? Was any of the things that we said in the cave, was that bullshit? Like, what is this? She says, no, not all of it was fake. The way she says it is like so unconvincing. Thanks, Katniss. Obviously very hurt by this. He doesn't come out until they're back in District 12. Just arrived home. They're getting off the train. He comes out and sees her, grabs onto her hand, but he's very deadpan and he's like, why don't we do it one more time for the audience, I guess. I don't know. Let me ask the audience.
Let me ask the audience.
She worries that whenever he does decide to let go of her hand, that it will be for the last time. Because now, all of a sudden, she's deciding, oh, I actually do have real feelings for you. Katniss, figure it out. But anyways, guys, I fucking did it. Oh my god. That is the end of the very first installment of the Hunger Games series. I hope you enjoyed this. I just need to get back into the swing of things. I need to stop yapping about things that don't matter. Collectively, I think I recorded for about 6 hours. And I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to fill like an hour-long video. Well, anyways, I also had the idea, because I did this with my American Horror Story video, a ranking for each installment. Out of all 5, I think the first one, The Hunger Games, is probably number 2 for me. I don't know. It depends. This was definitely the quickest read for me, but I think Catching Fire is my favorite, which is what we're going to be talking about next. We'll rank it fully all together at the very end, I guess. But right now, Hunger Games is sitting at number 2 for me. The movie, I think, also sits at number 2 for me. Do you remember back in the day, iTunes used to sell the iTunes cards, and you obviously would buy your music with that? I got so many iTunes cards. I had to really like put all my eggs in one basket, but I would buy some movies off of iTunes, and I remember buying The Hunger Games. I watched that movie so many times. You have no idea. The next video, we will be getting into my favorite one. Movie and book. Catching Fire is elite. Can't promise you when it'll be. I'm gonna try my best to hurry up, get them out, but I want to, I want quality. Okay, I have to so I'm gonna go ahead and go. Thanks for watching. Love you, sweats. I love you, sweaties. Thanks for having faith in me, trusting that I will come back with a breakdown video. All right, I'm just rambling. I gotta shit. Okay, bye. Goodbye.